Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right, so first in the building, we got Miss Carla Lockhart. Carla, appreciate you being here. All right, so we are going to actually get directly into the content today. All right. And pinned in the description box. Now, I'm pretty sure, Carla, that you subscribed already. But for anybody who's not subscribed, the link to the Auditing Africa channel is in the description. All right. It's also in the chat. It should be pinned there for everybody's ease of enjoyment. All right. So make sure that you take a moment and go and subscribe to that channel. All right. You can also view this live stream there. Okay. And what we are going to do is we're actually going to start this off the same way that we usually start off. All right. I want to show you guys a video about a police officer. All right. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but this particular police officer was found guilty, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of some kind of crime. And for the most part, he's free. No consequence, as usual. So let me get this queued up on the screen real quick. This is a real short video. All right, it's only 2 minutes. And let's check this out. And I want to know what you guys think about this.
Developing at 6, guilty plea. A former Hialeah police officer charged with several counts of sex assault, accepting responsibility for his actions as part of a plea deal.
So this dude was found guilty of several counts of sex assault. I want to make sure that everybody heard that. Several counts of sex assault. This cat was found guilty for. And because he, quote, owned up to it, he's free. Would a civilian be allowed? That is the question. Would a civilian get that same privilege? That's the question. I want you guys to hear this. If you can hear what was said, let me know. Type in a 1. If you can't hear what was said, let me know and type in a 2. But this is insane. Pay very close attention.
Developing at 6, guilty plea. A former Hialeah police officer charged with several counts of sex assault, accepting responsibility for his actions as part of a plea deal. We first brought you this as breaking news on CBS 4 News at 5.
So he was found guilty of a sex assault. He was found guilty of a sex assault, and he's just let free. Like, that's just it. Like, we're just gonna let you free. How does that work? That's what I need you guys to understand. I'm gonna play this one more time because it's so insane. But this, like, police are literally out here getting away with everything. They're literally out here getting away with everything. Here it is again, one more time. And again, the link for this story will be in the description box. I just want to make sure that everybody hears this.
Developing at 6, guilty plea. A former Hialeah police officer charged with several counts of sex assault, accepting responsibility for his actions as part of a plea deal. We first brought you this as breaking news on CBS 4 News at 5. We're live on air and always streaming on CBS News Miami with the CBS News app. Good evening. I'm Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Carly Barnett. Elliott is off tonight. Jesus Monacal Jr.
What
is
up,
now
Vovo?
free on bond. CBS 4's Peter Dench joins us live from downtown Miami with the latest on this. Peter.
Well, Carly and Lauren, we can tell you that Jesus Monacal pleaded guilty to 3 federal misdemeanor counts. It means that he will only face up to 3 years behind bars when he is sentenced. Now, Monacal is not commenting right now, but we did hear from one of his attorneys. The guilty plea will mean limited prison time for 34-year-old former Hialeah officer Jesus Jesse Monacal Jr., who left federal court with his wife and his 2 attorneys. Monacal pleaded guilty to 3 misdemeanor counts of depriving victims of their rights under the color of law after the victim.
I mean, I want to know what color the victims were. What's good with it, Bronze? Got my man Bronze the God in the building. What's going on with you, bro? What do you guys think of this so far? Again, this took place in Miami. Did you guys hear about this? See, when they let these dangerous cops out on the street, I think everybody should know about it. That's just me, though. I think everybody has the right to be aware that one of these dangerous police officers, one of these violent, vile police officers, is back on the street. Look at his wife holding him like he's the only man in the world. Like, this is insane. Like, I wonder how many times he's knocked her around.
Victims said they were sexually assaulted by Medicall when he was a police officer.
Jesse made a decision today as a father, as a husband, as a son, to put this behind him.
And remember, look at these people right here. Look at them. Somehow these are people of color. Somehow. I don't know how, but somehow that's what these are. These are people of color somehow.
The government has prosecuted this very aggressively. You're all aware of that. They spared no expense.
How has the government prosecuted this very aggressively if you got the deal that you got where you pled guilty to what you did and you're just back out on the street with like no jail time? Like, this is wild, man. And pay attention to this. This is happening more and more and more and more, where there's more police officers getting in trouble and then not getting in trouble. Pay attention to this. They're making it look like they're giving these police officers consequences. And then the trick bag is there's actually no consequences and they're out the next day.
They employed some of their finest prosecutors who have been nothing but professional. Today, they dismissed the felony counts, and Jesse pled to misdemeanor counts.
And because they are misdemeanors, his attorney, Jude Faccidomo, says Medicall will not have to register as a sex offender.
To be very...
And see, these are people of color. These are the brown and brown coalition. This is the brown and white coalition. You know, these Latinos here are probably racist as all hell. They have their little network with the police officer and the lawyer to get him reduced jail time. I mean, these people are always anti-black. Down in Florida, dealing with Cubans. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Be clear on that point. This plea will not include any form of sex offender registration whatsoever. It would be unlawful.
So this dude, he pled guilty to some kind of sexual crime, but because they gave him a plea deal and they pled it down to a misdemeanor, now he doesn't have to register to be on the sexual registry or anything like that. Right. Exactly, Carla. Like I really want people to be aware of this. There's going to be no black people that get any breaks like this. Pay attention. This video is real short. I'm going to let it run all the way through this time, but I want everybody to make sure they get a clear earful of this. Okay?
Developing at 6, guilty plea. A former Hialeah police officer charged with several counts of sex assault, accepting responsibility for his actions as part of a plea deal. We first brought you this as breaking news on CBS 4 News at 5. We're live on air and always streaming on CBS News Miami with the CBS News app. Good evening. I'm Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Carly Barnett. Elliott is off tonight. Jesus Monacal Jr. is now free on bond. CBS 4's Peter Dench joins us live from downtown Miami with the latest on this. Peter.
Well, Carly and Lauren, we can tell you that Jesus Monacal pleaded guilty to 3 federal misdemeanor counts. It means that he will only face up to 3 years behind bars when he is sentenced. Now, Monacal is not commenting right now, but we did hear from one of his attorneys. The guilty plea will mean limited prison time for 34-year-old former Hialeah officer Jesus Jesse Menacol Jr., who left federal court with his wife and his two attorneys. Menacol pleaded guilty to 3 misdemeanor counts of depriving victims of their rights under the color of law after the victims said they were sexually assaulted by Menacol when he was a police officer.
Jesse made a decision today as a father, as a husband, as a son, to put this behind him. The government has prosecuted this very aggressively. You're all aware of that. They spared no expense. They employed some of their finest prosecutors who have been nothing but professional. Today, they dismissed the felony counts, and Jesse pled to misdemeanor counts.
And because they are misdemeanors, his attorney, Jude Facidomo, says Menacol will not have to register as a sex offender.
To be very clear on that point,
I totally agree. If you guys agree with Carla, we all need to start a legal defense fund just in case we need a lawyer. Type in a 1. If you disagree, type in a 2. What I also think we need to do is we need to start businesses and encourage there to be young, black, grassroots-minded lawyers. Because I don't want to start a legal defense fund and then pay it out to somebody that hates me, like an anti-black person of color who would do something so egregious as to provide a defense for an individual who was sexually battering people to get them off. Like, what I also want to do is I want to find out who this guy's victims were. And what we need to do is we need to be scanning the news to see if there's any black police officers who deal with this kind of thing and they get a break like him, which we know is not going to happen because we already saw what happened with the 2 police officers in Chicago, and we've seen the way Muhammad Noor was being treated. But the problem is that police officers are so off code most times, they don't even care. They're there to take one for the team, so they know what time it is.
This plea will not include any form of sex offender registration whatsoever. It would be unlawful. These are misdemeanor counts. What we feel is that this is going to give Jesse and his family a chance to move on and get on with their lives.
Under the plea agreement, Menacol agrees to accept responsibility for his actions and never become a police officer ever again here or nationwide.
Can you tell us real quick what he's going to do now if he can't be a cop anymore?
He's going to go home and be with his family tonight.
Menacol also gives up his right to appeal. One of the victims had told us in November of 2019 that she hoped Menacol would serve some prison time.
He needs to go to jail. He needs to serve justice. He needs to serve time in jail.
Now, Menacol will be sentenced on May 12th. Also, his attorney said that threats have been made against him on Instagram. The judge in this case said she wanted the FBI to look into that. We are live in Miami. Peter Dench, CBS 4 News.
So they're more worried about threats against him than they are about the fact that this deviant is back out on the street. Now, my question for you guys is, what do you think about this whole entire thing? I know you guys heard everything that was just said. What do you think about it? I'm pretty disgusted. I'm pretty disgusted by it, but I'm not surprised. What do you guys think? And again, like I always say, if you guys are interested in, doing your own research or getting some background context, the sources for every single thing that I use are always in the they're always in the description box. Okay, they're in the description box of the live streams. Now, when I do clips and when I cut these up, I don't put the sources in there, but when it comes to the live streams, the sources are always in the live streams. What up with it, Naz? What's up with you? Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. So yeah, this is crazy. So anyway, let's get back to the fun stuff, which the fun stuff is the audit of Africa. All right. So what we got here is a live Africa update feed from BBC. All right. So this is pretty cool. What this is this is a events tracker. And what it does is it talks about a lot of things going on in Africa. All right. The last time that it was updated, I'm going to refresh it to see if it'll update again. But it looks like the last time it was updated was February 22nd. All right. And what it says here, this is Kenya's ambassador at the UN Security Council has condemned Russia's decision to send troops to Ukraine's breakaway regions of Donetsk and Luhansk and recognize them as independent states. The territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine stands breached. The Charter of the United Nations continues to wilt under the relentless assault of the powerful, Martin Kamini said. His statement, which has been mostly welcomed on Twitter, drew comparisons between Africa's experience of colonialism and Russia-Ukraine crisis. What do you guys think about that? Hey, what's up, Maya? What's up, RGT? What's going on with you? What do you guys think about that? I think that's a really bad comparison. Like, I'm going to read that again. His statement, which has been mostly welcome on Twitter, drew comparisons between Africa's experience of colonialism and the Russia-Ukraine crisis. How do you even compare African colonialism with the Ukraine crisis? I mean, like, come on, man. That's the ultimate form of cooning. So we found some coonage on the audit. You know what I'm saying? How could you possibly compare African colonialism to the Ukraine crisis? I mean, come on, man. I want to know what you guys think about that. Like, that is, geez, man. We understand that separated people may look yearningly across borders, hoping for recognition, but Kenya rejects such a yearning from being pursued by force, he said. Mr. Kamini's comments signal a marked change from Kenya's previous position at UN Security Council when it abstained from voting. Gabon and Ghana, which are also non-permanent members of the body, also condemned Russia's actions against Ukraine. There are concerns that the cost of living could rise as a result of the crisis. Now, we've looked into this, and my question for you guys is this a true statement? Do you guys think that the cost of living is going to increase as a result of the crisis? Me personally, I do. But I want to know what you guys think. And also, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please make sure that you hit the like button. Yesterday's video is up to like 66 likes. As awesome. If we could get 40 more, we'll hit that 100. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I agree, Val. I think it is too. Kenya's Business Daily newspaper on Tuesday published a front page headline, "How Russia-Ukraine Will Hurt Kenyan Homes." That's not good, is it? What do you guys think about that? It's not good at all. In my opinion, that's really bad. This thing is gonna send a ripple effect to a lot of people. It's gonna send a ripple effect to a lot of people. Disruptions from any military action or sanctions could also see bread and wheat flour prices rally in Kenya. See, that's not what you want. Now, what did we learn from yesterday? Why would the wheat and flour and bread prices rally? Why would that happen? I need you guys to let me know in the comments what would cause that to occur, because we talked about it specifically yesterday. An article in South Africa's Daily Maverick news site warned that a war in Eastern Europe will soon ripple and be felt in every village and town of South Africa and the world. Uh-oh. That's not good, is it? Mali, whose growing alliance with Russia has worsened the diplomatic fallout with Western partners, is yet to officially comment on the imminent conflict. All right. What do you guys think about that? How do you guys feel about him comparing the experience to colonialism? Yeah, definitely, Michael R. Rising gas prices. There you go. Val got it. Val got it. So Naz says that she's trying to understand the relationship that Africa has with Russia. And they have a pretty intricate relationship. And they do. They do. By the time we're done with this video, you will have a full understanding of the relationship. You'll have a full understanding of the relationship. All right. So let's do something real quick. All right. I had some things that I wrote down last night while I was at work, and I want to talk to you guys about them. All right. And I want to see what you guys think. All right. So I'm going to need you guys to participate. All right. So when we went over all of that stuff about the African nation yesterday, one of the reoccurring things that we saw was that a lot of these economies are doing really well. But one of the biggest problems is political instability and scandals, political uncertainty. Now, my question for you guys is, what is it that's causing the political uncertainties and the political instabilities? Also, money-making opportunity, if we're assuming because Ukraine is getting hit, then that means, as we know, the price for wheat is more than likely going to increase. One thing that we probably should do is look into how to invest in non-Ukrainian sourced wheats on the commodities market. All right. What causes political uncertainty and scandals? That's the question for you guys. That see, look and see, we called it. We called all of this. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're going to start putting some money away, and we're going to start investing as we call this stuff. As we do these audits, we're going to know exactly where the money is. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that money. You know what I'm saying? And Val is absolutely correct. The West is causing political instability in Africa. Not just causing political instability in Africa, but political instability all throughout the world, through the UN, through NATO, through the World Health Organization, through all of these different things. What are they doing? If we look at this on a micro scale and we look at what's going on here in the United States, political instability and American intervention is no different than the derangement of internal politics. Would you guys agree with that? If you have deranged internal politics, then there's constant turmoil. You have feminism, you have white supremacy, you have all of these things that have trained Black men and Black women to have issues with communication, to have issues creating families, to have issues with unions, deranging the internal politics. It's literally the same thing. It's just on a different scale. Okay. The International Monetary Fund is also involved with these countries. We have to start auditing the International Monetary Fund, and we'll be doing that on the oil and gold railroad. Now, we have to ask, are the UN and IMF actually working to help these nations become independent? Or are they derailing the internal politics of these nations? I want everybody to answer that question. I'm going to ask it again. Are the UN and IMF actually working to help these nations become independent? Or are they derailing the internal politics of these nations? That's the question. Okay. I want you guys to answer that question in detail. Next, when we get on the oil and gold railroad, We need to learn how to invest in gas and other energy. Okay, you guys agree with that? Gas and other energy. See, Carla took the words out of my mouth. Gas is at $4 now. So see, imagine if we had some spare cash and we could have jumped on that. We would have made some money. We got DIY Queen in the house. Haven't seen DIY Queen in a minute. What's good with it? Hope everything is going well for you. You know what I'm saying? We need to observe how world events influence commodities. All right. Because commodities are components that influence not only stocks, but finished products. All right. Now, to make the optimal investment, we need to see which is the average percentage gain and which one is the highest. Is it the value of commodities or the value of stocks? All right. Now, I don't know if Ashkiro Moxie is in here, but eventually, as we go through this series, we're going to talk about Al-Shabaab. Now, when it comes to the derangement of the internal politics of a lot of these, yeah, they are DIY Queen. Oh, and I had to delete all my videos off of Blacklight Revelations too. Don't worry though, I'll be streaming on it again, just not till August because I got 2 channel strikes over there. All right, so don't worry. You know what I'm saying? That I got you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna learn about Al-Shabaab eventually. All right, we're gonna do it eventually, not quite yet. But I want you guys to keep that on the tip of your tongue and in the back of your head. And if you ever go past it or you see anything, take note of it. All right. Now, the reason why I'm asking you guys about Al-Shabaab is because what I want to ask you guys is, do you feel that the United States pays insurgents and pays rebel groups to derange internal politics? Is what we see going on, all of the fighting, all of the different events that are going on that keeps these countries from thriving, is that derangement of internal politics? That's the question. Okay. Now, political instability globally is macroeconomics. Family dynamics and education is microeconomics. So when we're using things like the World Health Organization, the Trilateral Commission, the International Monetary Fund, we're deranging internal politics on a macro political and a macroeconomic level. When we do it at home with propaganda, when we do it at home with education, when we do it on YouTube with propaganda, that's a micro level. So we need to be able to understand where a lot of these things are coming from. Okay. Val says yes. U.S. pays these insurgents. Naz says absolutely. Yeah, that's big facts. We got Michael R on the board with a $2 super chat. Very much appreciated. 2 out of 3 of Mali, 2/3 of Mali is out of government control. Yeah, that's big facts. Now watch this, because we're going to get to it and we're going to eventually talk about Mali. This is going to be a long series. Yo, what up, KO Kid Fit? What's good with you, bro? So if the moderators can, if you guys can throw the link for the Auditing Africa channel in the chat so that the people who weren't here yesterday can check out the Auditing Africa channel and also check out that stream yesterday. Those are very important to keep the context, because there's a lot of information that we're going over. Now, question: are we dealing with a time of political uncertainty? Political uncertainty and scandals result from continued and ongoing political derangement. Would you guys agree with that statement, or would you disagree? So what we have to understand is that when it comes to the media, when it comes to the Western media, when it comes to the news, what that is it's a detailed reporting and a detailed audit of what the United States is going all across the world doing, deranging internal politics all over the place. Now, the problem is that us here, we're not strong enough to stop it. We don't have a military. We don't have any of that. However, we can build and we can pay attention to the behavior and to the cycles, and we can use those things to do business, We can use those things to make money. We can use those things for a lot of different reasons. All right. Now, I'm going to move something to the front because those articles that it talked about, we're going to talk about those the next time we do a video about auditing Africa. All right. Thanks, Naz. Appreciate it. So everybody, make sure you guys smash the link that Naz just put in there if you're not subscribed to that channel, and feel free to watch from over there if you want to as well. All right. Now, I have a question for everybody. Who's familiar with the definition of macroeconomics? We're going to talk about macroeconomics today. All right. Because in order to understand what's going on here, you need to have a full and thorough understanding of macroeconomics. And I guarantee you, after I get done with this, if you want to take a class out of college or something, you really won't have to do much homework because you'll understand this shit completely. You won't even need to pick up a book. Trust me. Okay. So what does it sound like? What does macroeconomics sound like? This is the definition of it right here. Okay. Macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is a branch of economics dealing with the performance, structure, behavior, and decision-making of an economy as a whole. Now, question. Everything that we talked about yesterday. What's up, Jay? What's up, FU2? Everything that we talked about yesterday. Do you all feel that stuff qualifies as macroeconomics? If you feel that it qualifies as macroeconomics, type in a 1. If you disagree and you don't feel that it qualifies as macroeconomics, type in a 2. And I hope with your 2 that you type in, you'll be kind enough to give me a reason why you disagree. All right. So macroeconomics controls everything. Macroeconomics is the wave that all other finances ride on. So if you understand macroeconomics, then you understand finance. You can look at it like this. Macroeconomics is the galaxy. Finance is our solar system. The stock market is our planet. Your job, your business, that's your city. And inside of your wallet is microeconomics. So basically what this is a scale, and it shows how large you're looking at. It shows how far out the magnifying glass is. So when we're looking at macroeconomics, we're looking at the workings of the entire economy or whatever accepted groups of economies that we're looking at. Now, is everybody following me? Does that make sense? If that makes sense, type in a 1. If it doesn't make any sense, type in a 2 and let me know what it is that you don't understand. All right. For example, using interest rates, taxes, and government spending to regulate an economy's growth and stability. Now, this is important because as you learn about macroeconomics, what you'll learn is that when the government is in a situation, and they're not getting the kind of money that they need, they'll do things to stimulate the economy. And take a wild guess what one of the textbook things is that the government does to stimulate the economy. Take a wild guess. Seriously, fill the comments threads up with guesses. You guys should easily know what it is because we're kind of going through it right now. This includes regional, national, and global economies. See? Just like I said, this includes regional, national, and global economies, large economies. We're not talking about a specific stock market. That's a smaller scale. That's finance. We're talking about large There you go. See how good of learners you guys are? War. It will literally literally say that in a textbook. Now, pay attention to the economic trends. Pay attention to the way that the dollar is going. Pay attention to everything. Now, look at where we're going as far as economics. You see? Now, you got to pay attention to who the players are. Because when you pay attention to who the players are, then you know what products are going to get hit. If you know about Ukraine, then you know the bread is going to get hit. Guess what? You go to as many non-Ukrainian stable bread companies as you can, find out how much shares are, or go to the bread market, find out how much non-Ukrainian bread imports are. That's what you invest in. Anytime there's an increase in demand, just before the increase in demand, that's when you want to try to get in. You get it right before the demand, sell it at the peak of the demand. Does that make sense? You want to buy low and sell high. Always. Anytime you're buying anything, you want to get the lowest price. That's why everybody goes to the clearance section. If you sell something, you want to sell it for a premium, right? You buy at a minimum, you sell at a premium. What do? How do you do it? You figure out the conditions that create premiums. You figure out the economic conditions that create minimums. Economic situations that create premiums are shortages and demand increases. Economic situations that create minimums are when there's too much. If we had too much wheat, what would happen to the price? If we had too much wheat, what would happen to the price? Would it go up or would it go down? There you go. Nas got it. It would drop. If you had a shortage, where's the price going? It's going up, right? Now, how do you get some quick money? You pay attention to the products that you know have a fluctuation, and you pay attention to the market and see how the market is behaving and if it's moving towards a fluctuation. If it's moving towards a fluctuation, then you do what you got to do. If you bought some gas commodity certificates low, and wait a minute, we're going into war, and we're going into war with a country that has gas production. Oh, wait a minute, gas about to skyrocket. I'm gonna hold on to these until the gas price is $4 or $5 a pop. Then I'm gonna sell a little bit, make me some money. You see how that works? They always talk about how the market is speculatory, but that's not true. The market is speculatory for us. The people who actually run the world, the policymakers, the government, the big businesses, they base their policies on how much money and how many resources they can get. So they know in advance the direction they're going to artificially push the economy in. So they always have inside information because they're the ones that quantitatively ease the economy. They're the ones who cause artificial abnormalities in the cycle. Absolutely, they know. That's why they make so much. Pay attention to what Ron DeSantis, Rand Paul, Joe Biden, and Nancy Pelosi all have invested and made a lot of money in. Pay attention to what they made a lot of money in. There you go. DIY queen, right on it. Coming in like she didn't miss a day. You know what I'm saying? So now, according to a 2018 assessment by economists Emmy Nakamura and John Steinson, economic evidence regarding the consequences of different macroeconomic policies is still highly imperfect and open to serious criticism. Macroeconomists study such topics as GDP, which is the gross domestic product, unemployment, national income, price indices, output, consumption, inflation, savings, investment, energy, international trade, and international finance. Macroeconomics and microeconomics, all right, are the two most general fields in economics. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 17 has a target to enhance global macroeconomic stability through policy coordination and coherence as part of the 2030 agenda. Oh, and that's something. I thought Agenda 2030, Agenda 2020, I thought that was conspiracy theory, didn't you? Guess not. Guess not. That's macroeconomics. Okay? Now, as we go through these topics, we'll definitely, most definitely, be revisiting that. But my question for you guys is, out of all of that information that we went through yesterday, I want you guys to flood the comment section with specific macroeconomic issues that we talked about. Type in macroeconomic issues that we talked about. And another question, will the war affect macroeconomics? That's the question. That's the question. See? Yeah, see, now you guys are knowing what you, yeah, see, yeah, look at y'all. Look at y'all. Y'all know exactly what time it is. All right. Now, macroeconomics. I'm going to show you how these things work together. We got Michael R. down here talking about the price of gas and the price of wheat. Let's examine that. We got Val down here talking about the price of food. Let's examine that. Who was talking about the price of food yesterday? The World Health Organization. All right. The World Health Organization was talking about food. They said that 75% of Ethiopians are starving. Macroeconomic condition, Russia and Ukraine are in conflict. The wheat producing areas of Ukraine are under siege. That grain, that wheat is shipped out to all of the places that have food disparities. One of those is Kenya. A little family in Kenya is now only able to eat one meal a day. Now, question. Name me the microeconomic elements of what I just said, and name me the macroeconomic elements of what I just said. Because we talked about both in that paragraph. And while you guys are naming me the macro and microeconomic elements of what I just said, we're going to talk about microeconomics. Microeconomics is a branch of mainstream economics that studies the behavior of individuals and firms in making decisions regarding the allocation of scarce resources. Scarce resources. Scarce resources. Kenyans eating less is the micro. Fact. That family that now has to eat one meal a day, that's the microeconomic effect. The war that causes all of that is the macroeconomic effect. See how that works? Large scale, macro. Interpersonal and small scale, micro. Okay? Michael R's got it. One goal of microeconomics is to analyze the market mechanisms that establish relative prices. Now, if we understand the market mechanisms that establish these relative prices, then we'll always be able to accurately speculate on what a price is. If we can accurately speculate on what a price is, then what will that do for our investment technique? That's the question. If we can accurately make hypothesis about how the behavior of the economy will affect prices, if we're able to guess that with accuracy, how will that change our investment activity? It's not bad information to have, is it? Imagine if there was something like macroeconomics, or imagine if there was something like microeconomics for lottery tickets. You think more people would play? See how that works? See how that works? Now, one goal of microeconomics is to analyze market mechanisms that establish relative prices. Analyze the market mechanisms that establish relative prices among goods and services and allocate limited resources. You see that? And allocate limited resources among alternative uses. This is all about resources. They have whole entire classes, studies, field, the sciences about the resource allocation. Okay? This is important. Microeconomics shows conditions under which free markets lead to desirable allocations. Now, what is a desirable allocation? A desirable allocation is when things can be distributed at a price of market equilibrium. That's when demand and supply are equal. Yeah, facts. If you guys didn't watch the video yesterday, if you guys have watched the video that we did yesterday, type in a 1. If you didn't, type in a 2. See, because the thing that's important is, this is one of the reasons why this is called auditing Africa. Because when they say follow the money, we're going to for real follow the money all the way down to the particle. She says she didn't realize how much these PC people controlled until the video yesterday. Ungodly amounts. Anybody who hasn't watched that video all the way through to the end, I'm telling you guys, I know it's long as hell. It's worth every second. It's worth it. I know I make the videos long. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to work on condensing them. But the stuff that I talk about is so complicated and interrelated, it's really difficult for me to do that because you need to get it all in one sitting. Like I'm telling you, after the auditing Africa, try it out. After the auditing Africa series, go to your local community college if you guys haven't taken micro and macroeconomics. I guarantee you, at the least, you'll get a B after we are done with this auditing Africa series. I guarantee you'll get at least a B. While microeconomics focuses on firms and individuals. Isn't that what we said? Microeconomics focuses on firms and individuals. Macroeconomics focuses on the sum of total economic activity. We need to pay attention to both because both of these determine finance, which is stock markets, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, mutual funds, commodities, derivatives, cryptocurrency. You see how that works? So see, DIY Queen knows exactly what's up. Got a business degree. That means that she'll be able to help when we get to the operations management part, because that's important. Because all of this is important. Because when it comes to operations management, you get economies of scale if you're producing things correctly. That's what happens when you start to build an experience curve. And I hate to say it, I know people probably like, oh, here you go again. But we seem to not be building an experience curve. So one of the things that I have as one of the mission statements and goals of my channel is to jumpstart with a learning curve pattern that looks like Moore's Law, an experience curve. See, she said that's her background, management and risks. Risk management, quality control, statistics, decreasing variance and standard deviation. You can calculate pretty much everything. That's why when we did the simulation theory series, I asked, can information stand independent? Is information a fundamental element of the universe? Because if anything exists, then the characteristics about it exist, and those characteristics make up information. That goes back down that rabbit hole. But you see how it's all related. Because now here we are, and guess what? Now we're running programs and we're running a simulation on the global economy to see how things move. So see, you see how I did that? Y'all didn't even know that when we were doing that simulation theory series, what I was actually doing was training you how to conceptualize things inside of your head. So now you don't need to see it on the screen. When I display something or when I say something, you'll automatically visualize it and see it working. You'll see the gears moving. You'll see it turning because now you can simulate. You can create your own simulation in your head of how these things will work. My man Q Hefner is in the building. It is all related. Everything is interconnected. Big facts. That's one of the things that they try to tell you in the movies, because in the movies, you know, fiction is actually fact and fact is actually fiction. That's why if you watched nothing but movies in your childhood and have never watched any TV in your adulthood, you still know exactly what's going on. Think about that for a minute. Particularly in the wake of Lucas' critique, much of modern macroeconomic theories has been built upon micro foundations, i.e. based on basic assumptions about micro level behavior. Who did y'all hear that from? Who always talks about human behavior? People cannot escape human behavior. Prices are based on human behavior. Any interaction that we do with anything is based on human behavior. Why? Because it's humans that are doing it. Human behavior is inescapable, which means that if you understand human behavior, then you understand how the world is going to work. Now, question. One of the reasons why Dub S is seemingly difficult to deal with is because Dub S has a lot of information about our behavior, don't they? They study us in jail. They study us in school. They study us all the time. Information gathering, studying us right now. The YouTube algorithm is studying us right now. We got a rogue group out there. These blacklight people, they're talking about some odd stuff. Those people that watch that Blacklight Revelations channel, they're a little bit different than everybody else. They're I don't know. We're gonna have to pay attention to them because they're going into heavy stuff. They're going into heavy stuff that they're not supposed to go into. They're going into heavy topics that can create resource generation and power, and we can't have that. What causes scarcity? Are we in a situation right now where something can become scarce? There's two things based on what's going on currently that I can think of that may possibly become scarce. What are those two things, and what's going to happen to the price? What happens to the price when something becomes scarce? Let me know in the comments section. We are constantly studied, which means we need to constantly study back. Val is on it. Val and Jay are both on it. Gas. Food and gas. Inflation. That's a fact. Naz is right. The price goes up. Gas is going up. FU2 is right. DIY Queen is right. Now, do you see how now what we're doing? We're looking at the elements of the economy moving around, because that's what happens. Motion creates motion. Motion and motion create action. Action creates events. Ukraine had an action. Russia had an action. An event was created. Now we're looking at the ripples of that event. Ukraine produces wheat. The wheat areas have been affected. If they're not able to produce, then what does that cause? When there's nothing on the shelves because everybody's bought it all already, what does that cause? It causes scarcity. Scarcity equals, sorry, we're all out. I'm thirsty as hell. The world is going to shit, and I just needed bottled water. Sorry, we're all out. Water is scarce at that point. I'm chilling in the hood with my peoples, having a good time. Next thing I know, I hear gunshots. All right, y'all, I'm about to get scarce. Guess what? That means I'm gone. Just like the wheat, just like the gas, just like anything else that the production was shut down on. I'm gone too. I'm getting scarce. These fools are crazy out here shooting for no reason. Goodbye. I'm scarce, just like these products. See how that works? But I didn't tell you why they were shooting. They were shooting in 2019 in the parking lot of Walmart because there was only one roll of toilet paper. The toilet paper was scarce. See how that works? Brat. All right. Scarcity is an economic concept that refers to the basic fact of life that there exists only a finite amount of human and non-human resources, which the best technical knowledge is capable of using to produce only limited maximum amounts of each economic good. If the conditions of scarcity didn't exist and an infinite amount of every good could be produced or human wants fully satisfied, there would be no economic goods. Understand that. So pay attention to this, because what this is telling you is that there is no political system ever, anywhere possible, ever in any universe with the same laws of physics that we have that can ever create a system that equally distributes everything. It's impossible to equally distribute scarce resources. which means that regardless if you're socialist, if you're communist, if you're capitalist, there's always going to be a top. There's always going to be a bottom. What up, Bernie? What's good with you, bro? What up, Jay Bird? See how that works? Do you guys agree? The principle of scarcity guarantees that there will never be equality. One of the reasons why we have a economy, because demand, supply, resource availability, and availability to secure resources are measured. If there was equal amounts of gold for everyone, gold would have no value. Scarcity makes things valuable. Why does it make things valuable? Because value is a factor of price. And with scarcity, demand increases, price increases. Tired, bro. Just pulled a 14-hour shift in the truck. I ain't mad at you. Go get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Be safe, though. Don't be driving sleepy. Would you guys agree with what I just said? If you guys agree, type in a 1. If you disagree, type in a 2. Scarcity. So now we understand that that's what the race is for. It's the race to secure as many power-granting, scarce resources as possible. Humanitarian effort, humanitarian aid, world peace is all manipulation to make it look as if things are equal. But things are never equal if someone else is distributing the resources that you have limited access to as a result of them holding them and distributing them in the way that they want to. That makes sense? You guys see how that works? We're going deep here. We're going down the economic rabbit hole. You guys had no idea that this money was this crazy, did you? We're going down the economic rabbit hole. See this? I.e., goods that are relatively scarce. Scarcity is the limited availability of a commodity. Remember, what did I say we was going to talk about? Oh, the oil and gold railroad. Commodities. Because commodities are component parts that are put together to make products. Let me ask you guys something. Say, for instance, I have a fast food restaurant. Pay attention, all right? Listen here. If I have a fast food restaurant and I sell burgers, there's a war in Ukraine. What commodity is going to cause me to have to increase my price? What is the component part for bread that this war affects? See how that works? Inside one investment is multiple investments. There you go. Exactly. You guys are all right. The wheat is going to cause the price of the rolls and buns to go up. Grain, facts, Mike. DIY Queen is right. Wheat. FU2 right. Wheat. Carlton Way right. Wheat. That's the commodity. The commodity that's scarce is wheat. It's gonna cause me to have to raise the price of my product, my burger, because the buns are gonna cost more. Okay. See how that works? It's a ripple effect. So now because the wheat is scarce, I'm going to have to charge more for my burger. The consumer is going to have to pay more for the burger. I'm still not making more money because I have to compensate for the amount of price increase that goes into that wheat. See how that works? So for every component to a product, that's an opportunity to gain money. If you understand the market, if you understand what components go into what. If there's a shortage in graphene, then the price of a semiconductor is going to go up. Because the graphene price went up. See how that works? Scarcity also includes an individual's lack of resources to buy commodity. Let me ask you guys something. When it comes to Ethiopia, what's scarce over there? There's a common thing that's scarce to people in Ethiopia. Question, what is it? What's scarce to the people in Ethiopia? I'll give you a hint. It helps you stay alive. Scarcity plays a key role in economic theory. All right. Something else that we need to pay attention to. And it is essential for a proper definition of economics itself. Yes, because scarcity determines a lot. There you go. What up, New Eros? What's good with you, bro? Food, that's facts. Water, that's facts. That's facts, Mike. You see, you guys are now you guys understand how all of these things are interrelated. And if you understand how these things are interrelated, then you can speculate on the price. If you can speculate on the price, then you can create value-added investments. And if you can create value-added investments, then you can make yourself a good amount of money. You can also have yourself prepared for a situation where there may be an emergency. This is nothing more than anticipation. As a matter of fact, DIY Queen talked about risk management. Did you guys know that there is risk management that goes into investment? It's called diversification. It's called hedging. There's multiple kinds of risk management that actually go into investment. And the management of the risk is to decrease what's called the beta coefficient, because the beta coefficient shows you how risky or not risky an investment is. What's a risky investment? Something that you don't know the outcome of. Something that's not guaranteed. See, I know a little something. You'd be surprised. I know a little something. A little something. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Not much, but a little bit. I mean, a little bit. Economics is the science which studies human behavior. So if economics is a science that studies behavior, then that means, again, psychology is inescapable. So we could look at psychology as the commodity and economics is the product. Psychology is what causes economic fluctuations. Psychology is a component part of every price that economy determines. We can do that with anything. Yeah, certain cryptocurrencies are more risky than some. There's some cryptocurrencies that are pegged to $1 that really don't have a lot of risk. One could go out on a limb and say holding dollars is risky. I showed you guys about the Venezuelan crisis. We talked about the balance of payments crises. What happens if you're holding dollars during a balance of payment crisis? All of a sudden, you go from however much money you had to flat broke. You know what I mean? So, Scarcity. You guys understand scarcity? If you understand scarcity, type in a 1. If you still need a little bit more explanation, type in a 2. Now we're going to go to some fun stuff. Commodities. These are important. Name some commodities. I need you guys to give me big lists of commodities. And we're going to see why they're important. In economics, a commodity is an economic good, usually a resource. See that? Look at this. Look right on the side. They got stuff from Africa. You see this? Every picture, every single thing in this picture is something from Africa. Yerba mate, coffee bean, and tea. I mean, Africa and commodities go hand in hand. This is one of the reasons why we have to audit Africa, because how can you have all the resources and 75% of people in one of your countries is starving? Literally, Wikipedia, damn near the dictionary, you go to Wikipedia and literally every picture in the dictionary is a commodity that comes from Africa. I'm glad you enjoying it, FU2. I mean, this is the problem. This is why we have to run an audit. How does this happen? And it's not just, some areas or some regions. The whole continent is commodity resource rich. How in God's name are you broke? Now, again, what I tell you guys in the beginning, I didn't create this channel to drag Africans. That's not the point. I hope that I start to get more African people to come in here. And I hope it's the African people that don't hate foundational Black Americans and don't want to derange the conversation. Because what I want to do is I want to work with y'all, and I want them to be able to understand exactly what's going on here. And we can sit here and we can talk about, well, if the IMF and the World Hunger Organization is fixing all these things and they're providing resources to these people in Africa that they allegedly already have, and nothing is changing, we have to look at them as part of the problem. How can you be sitting on a gold mine and be rich? That does not make any sense. I'll tell you how you can sit on a gold mine and not have any money. If you're sitting on a gold mine and a bank tells you what to do. The IMF is a bank. The World Hunger Organization is a bank. That's how. China is a bank. Russia is a bank. United States is an extortionist. See, China, Russia, the World Health Organization, the IMF, those organizations are, like the white collar crime, like the gangsters who kind of smile and nod and say, we're going to be stealing some stuff from you. United States is the one that runs in your house, kicks in the door, waves in the 4-4. All you heard is this ain't your land no more. That's the United States. You know what I'm saying? They ready to die. See how I did that? In economics, a commodity is an economic good, usually a resource that has full or substantial fungibility. Fungibility. Where have you guys heard that term before? Fungibility. And what does it mean? Isn't fungibility the F in NFTs, non-fungible token. The market treats instances of the goods as equivalent or nearly so, with no regard to who produced them. See that? The price of a commodity good is typically determined as a function of its market as a whole. Well-established physical commodities have actively traded spot and derivative markets. Who's interested in spot and derivative markets? If you're interested in spot and derivative markets, let me know. Spot and derivative markets we'll be talking about those a lot when it comes to dealing with the oil and gold railroad. Okay? Now that you guys know how some of this stuff works, I want you guys to start conceptualizing things. Okay? I want y'all to start conceptualizing things. If you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment, smash the like button. Also, if you're over on Auditing Africa, please make sure you guys smash the like button over there as well. The wide availability of commodity typically leads to smaller profit margins and diminishes the importance of the factors. So, according to this, it seems that commodities have less profit margins, which means that it may be more wise to invest in finished products at certain times. Okay. Most commodities are raw materials. Isn't that what your boy said? Most commodities are raw materials. Basic resources, agricultural or mining products such as iron ore, sugar or grain, rice or wheat. What did I tell you? See how this comes full service? I said, you know what? Now's a good time. We're gonna talk about this. What up with it, MC Fact? There we go. Grains, rice, and wheat. So now, anytime you guys decide to bring up Ukraine, and they say, well, what's Ukraine got to do with black people? All you got to do is say 2 words, grain and wheat, and walk away. I don't want to talk about Ukraine. What's that got to do with black people? Well, first of all, everything that you talk about doesn't have to be something that has to do with black people. But if you really want to know, if you want to do that, grain and wheat. Have a nice day. Right. Bread and rice. Have you guys ever heard about, and see, Michael R. brings up a great point. He said the Spanish bought so much silver from the New World, it crashed the economy. Have you guys ever heard about how George Soros crashed all of those economies? George Soros went to a bunch of different places and crashed all the economies there. Were you guys aware of that? Yeah, that's all you got to tell them, bro. Grains and wheat. Yeah, Smirnoff. You know what I'm saying? The vodka. That shit comes from grain and wheat too. People don't know that shit, but it's grain vodka. You know what I'm saying? Commodities can also be mass produced, unspecialized products such as chemicals and computer memory. See, that didn't we just talk about graphene? We just talked about graphene. Other definitions of commodity include something useful or valued, and an alternative term for an economic good or service available for purchase in the market. All right. So, I bet you everybody is feeling extremely smart. You guys feel really smart? You should, because you are. You guys feel really smart? If you feel really smart, type in a 1. If you don't, type in a 2. We're going to watch a video. All right. Who wants to watch a video? What up? We got creepy Joe Biden in the house. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you were aware, Creepy Joe, but that was a pretty shitty State of the Union you did. You want to do any explaining while you're here? That's what's up. That's what you guys need to do. Feel smart. Look at that. Nice brown guy on top of Africa. How you guys feel? I don't think somebody that color has been on top of Africa for a very long time. That's what needs to change.
The African continent is famous for its poverty, but many people don't know the complete reason why Africa is so poor. While we all have a vague idea such as corruption, colonization, or foreign interference, all these reasons ignore why any of these things can happen in the first place. So in this video, I seek to change that. In this video, we will look from the point when African countries were rich and powerful, how over the centuries Africa lost its wealth, and why Africa hasn't been able to crawl out of its poverty while so many other countries and foreign colonies have. And to do this, we need to start in the 14th century, with Eastern Africa connected to the Indian Ocean trade, while West Africa was home to the richest person to have ever lived, a man named Mansa Musa. While many historians throughout history have concluded that Africa barely has any history aside from mummies and pyramids, it is important to remember that for most of history, much of Africa was as well connected to the rest of the world as Europe or Asia. They developed metallurgy that was on par with Europe and Asia, developed complex mathematical theories, and had intricate systems of governments such as city-states, kingdoms, and empires. So, what changed? Well, in the 14th and 15th century, Africa's prosperity began to fall behind that of the rest of the world. This was because of two external forces, the Ottoman Empire and the Western European empires. We will start with the Ottoman Empire, because the Ottomans required slaves, and the way they got their slaves was through war.
Now, you guys remember, a commodity can be natural resources or it can be human resources. They just said the Ottoman needed slaves. So we're here as American descendants of slavery as a result of being turned into commodities. We all have a social security number. A security is something that represents value in a financial terminology. Mutual funds are a security. The people that monitor the money are the Security and Exchange Commission. We are social securities because we are the value of society. We are commodities. I hope you see that.
They would go into villages, towns, and cities to capture the men, women, and children to be sold as slaves back home. And the easiest and cheapest place to get new slaves was Eastern Africa. And so slave traders were able to earn a lot of money by buying or capturing East Africans to sell them to the Ottomans. This trade continued all the way into the 19th century.
Now, if we're being sold, we are commodities. Oil and Gold Railroad. Remember why I called it Oil and Gold Railroad? Because we get the oil, put it in the barrels, put it on the railroad, ship it out. Get the gold, put it on the pallets, put it on the railroad, ship it out. Get the black people, gather them up, put them on a boat, ship them out. Commodities, human resource. You got an office for human resources at your job because a workforce, employees are human resource in every sense of the word, in every interaction, in any government system or economy. You yourself are a commodity. You're a commodity, which means that you have value. When the demand is high for a particular career, you get paid a lot more, don't you? See how that works? Economic rules govern your paycheck. If you do something everybody can do, like flip burgers, the demand is low for you because you can get anybody to do it. So you get paid less. If you have an intimate skill, like you can do a brain surgery with your eyes closed, you're going to get paid a lot of money. Why? Because there's not many people that can do that. How do you get yourself a big paycheck? Using economic rules. Type it in the comments.
Something similar was happening with Western European empires. At first, European traders came to Africa to trade salt in exchange for gold and ivory. Later, Europeans sailed around Africa to go to Asia. As a result, West Africa became an important location for European traders to stock up on supplies on their way to and from Asia. Soon after, Europeans tried going to East Asia directly by crossing the Atlantic, but instead they stumbled upon the Americas. In these Americas, the Europeans set up colonies, and these colonies were supposed to have the same system.
So, I bet you guys didn't know that you could apply the economic rules to the transatlantic slave trade, did you? Human behavior is inescapable.
Of government as that of Europe, with nobility, barons, clergy, knights, and peasants. But those Europeans had a problem. The Native Americans, who were supposed to become the new peasants, were dying from diseases like smallpox, measles, bubonic plague, and many more. And a dead peasant is an unproductive peasant.
So you see, what you're looking at, this pyramid, this is economics. This is a race-based class system. When white people say it's not about race, it's about classism, that is a cardinal white supremacist, both sides of the argument, talking point. Racism is classism, but it's not classism the way you want to explain it, because you want to explain it where we all have issues. You were never a commodity. See how this works? Now, see, when it comes to teaching classes, this is how HBCUs should be teaching their business classes. This is how they should be teaching their finance classes. They need to have me write the syllabus.
So where were they going to find new peasants for American colonies? Well, they found them on the West African slave markets. At the time, West Africa...
There you go. The West African slave markets, as well as the indigenous people, all foundational Black Americans. You're visibly different. Since you're visibly different, we can separate you and create a class out of you. We can visibly see that we need somebody to rule. If I'm the only person on the planet, I don't rule anything. There's no subjects. If you're a subject, then you've been subjugated. You see those people that didn't like to live in Europe? Those immigrants that created this country ran too. They ran because they couldn't get to the top of the pyramid scheme that they were trapped in. So they created their own pyramid scheme. They created their own fake reality. You see this pyramid? This pyramid is a giant reality simulation. This pyramid is not real. This pyramid is a construct. Dub S is simulation theory on steroids. So if you're not taking a red pill, to get yourself out of this matrix right here that's on the screen, you ain't doing nothing but taking placebos.
And peasants. But those Europeans had a problem. The Native Americans, who were supposed to become the new peasants, were dying from diseases like smallpox, measles, bubonic plague, and many more. And a dead peasant is an unproductive peasant. So where were they going to find new peasants for American colonies? Well, they found them on the West African slave markets. At the time, West Africa had slavery, but it wasn't the type of slavery we often think of. A slave often had similar rights as non-slaves. Their children weren't automatically slaves themselves, and they were often part of the family structure rather than a separate worker. And so European traders began buying slaves from West Africa. West Africans were happy to sell European slaves because their own gold mines were drying up in the 15th century and they were looking for a new way to earn money.
Now, how is the gold mines drying up in the 1500s when they're still I mean, they literally just found a brand new they just found a huge gold deposit in the Congo. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but they literally just found a huge gold deposit in Congo. So how are the how is that a thing? How is that going on? Does that make any sense? Think about that, guys. Think about that.
But how do you get new slaves? Well, you go to war for them. Various African countries went to war with their neighbors, captured their citizens, and then sold those citizens to the Europeans.
So, isn't that interesting? There was tribalism and derangement of internal politics even before. So, that seems like a problem that people need to deal with. Because maybe if people weren't tribalistic and people could put down ideological differences to form strong nations and strong communities, then maybe none of this would have happened. So maybe people need to take a chill pill. I don't understand why, if white supremacy can unify behind hate and put their ideological differences aside to express anti-black racism, it boggles my mind why black people can't put aside ideological differences for empowerment. Anything that white people do for white supremacy, black people need to bite their tongues down and do for black empowerment. Period. If you're an atheist and I'm a Christian and I see somebody exerting anti-black racism, you need to go study math and look at the greatest common denominator. You need to factor out the greatest common denominator and deal with that anti-black racism. You can argue about your theologies later. People need to understand and deal with that. Period. It's not that difficult. It's really not. But as you can see, that's a problem that existed pre-contact with Europeans. I don't know. I don't know if it has been removed. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think we need to reinforce it and at least install some fundamental logic. We don't have to follow orders. We just need to make sure that we deal with anti-black racism and are all on the same page about that, period. We don't need unity. We don't need hand-holding. We don't need all that. All we need is to have certain basic things understood. That's literally how everybody else is. Very simple. All right, Jay Bird, get you some sleep, bro. It's pretty simple. We'll see if it happens. Hopefully it does. I don't see anything good happening if it doesn't. So, you know.
Prominent slaver countries were the Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire, the Bono State, and the Songhai Empire. From the perspective of African rulers, this seemed like a good deal. They were weakening their rivals while earning lots of money in the process. And so over time, slavery changed from a relatively small market where slaves had rights into a large system of warfare where slaves became property to be sold to the highest bidder. This evolved into a system where slave traders would go to Africa to buy slaves and put as many as they could fit onto their ships. They would then sail to the Americas, where those slaves were sold to work to death in the fields. Those slave traders then bought raw materials.
So when people when I say stuff like Africans made the down payment on white supremacy, I'm talking in terms of economics. There's a reason why I say the shit that I say. I don't know what to and these people are still doing the same thing to this day. Selling the land, selling the resources. I mean, it's the same as selling us. Still making the same mistake to this day. But didn't want to come here and tell us how smart they are. I don't get it. I don't understand how you're smart if you haven't learned some simple shit after centuries. Where's the learning curve? Dead self-preservation reflex. It's a shame. It's embarrassing. But it is what it is. We don't have time to sit around and worry about it. We got our own shit to do.
Those slaves produced, such as sugarcane, cotton, or cocoa, sail to Europe and sell those raw materials for a profit. In Europe, those materials would be turned into manufactured goods like rum, clothing, or weapons. The traders then bought those manufactured.
Oh shit! So those goods. So they bought a so let's see how this economics thing works. Black people were commodities. Black people were a component price of a manufacturing system. Black people did labor for free. The black people were a commodity and they worked to harvest commodities. Then they shipped those commodities back to Europe as finished products and sold them. I got a question. Did you know Black history had so much to do with economics? Let me ask you guys a question. As descendants of commodities, being that we were actually an actual store of value in an economic system, how the hell do so many of us not understand how to manage money when we were money? How does that work? I mean, can I look, come on, let's get a moment of clarity here. Those African people know a lot about the tribes and the lineages. They still have a lot of their culture intact. Why don't we know what chiefs and what tribes were doing all this selling? Why don't we know exactly who's directly responsible for us being here? Those of us who are part of this. Because I'd actually like to know. And I'm sure they have living descendants. I want to know. I just want to know what they think about how the world is today and if they're proud of their contribution to it. Because, I mean, it's impactful. You know, everybody likes to leave their mark on the world. They left a mark on the world. I just want to know if they're proud of it or not. I don't think that should be hidden. I think that everybody should know about it. It's just me.
Goods and sailed back to Africa to sell those manufactured goods and use the profits to buy new slaves. This was a good deal for everybody except the slaves. The Americans received slaves to use in the plantations, the Europeans received raw materials, and the West Africans received manufactured goods. And the plight of the slaves was not an issue to any of them. While at times Europeans tried taking slaves by force,
they're still doing the same stupid shit. So here goes another audit. All right. Another audit moment. Quality control for Africa. We're doing a business consultation. You know what I'm saying? We're coming in to fix the books. They need a consultant. Still doing the same dumb shit. You're sending your resources out, processing them elsewhere, and buying them back as finished products instead of processing them yourself and cutting out the middleman. Still doing it. Centuries after creating a global catastrophe that has put you at the bottom of the world simply on eye contact, you're still making the same mistake. This is why Africa needs to be audited.
this always failed because the African kingdoms were far too strong at the time, and so they maintained friendly relations with whichever country was willing to sell slaves. Over the centuries, empires collapsed into civil wars, and the slave traders were more than willing to buy their former slave partners as slaves.
Yeah. New Eros. I know exactly what article you're talking about. I think there's one by BBC and then there's another one.
To be shipped off to the Americas. And so as empires rose and fell, there were always merchants willing to buy slaves, such as happened in the Kingdom of Congo, which fell apart into various factions. Each of those factions needed weapons and money to fund their war effort, and so they captured slaves from other parts of the former Kingdom of Congo and sold them to Portuguese traders.
Do you know these people are still doing this? They are still doing this, guys. They are still doing this. We're auditing Africa. How many times when we watched that video the other day did it say political instability and scandals? How many times did it say that, guys? Give me a little bit of an estimate. How many times did you hear that? So you mean to tell me that these smart people that come over here and they contribute to the society? I mean, what? Still doing the same stuff today. Why are you doing it? Can we get some answers? Are there some learning issues? Why are we still doing these things? Are we slow? At least 10 times is what Val said. So do the black ones, MC Fact. You're looking at black Muslims who are terrorizing Somalia with the aid, more than likely, of other large countries. I know. I know. Human behavior is inescapable. So you either crack your brain and get beyond your human behavior and program yourself for survival, or you perish. I think people need to make a choice of whether they want to perish or if they want to thrive and not just survive. Because I'll tell you what, we're making it real easy for the rest of the world. This is embarrassing. We're going to talk about this real quick. What is Al-Shabaab? That's my question. You guys know what Al-Shabaab is? On October 14th, 2017, at least 300 people were killed and hundreds were injured in one of the most lethal terrorist attacks globally for many years when a truck packed with explosives detonated in the center of Mogadishu. Did they get as much sympathy as Ukrainians got? Nope. Here's the problem, though, DIY Queen. Somebody else that's not from Africa is always making Africans do something. Where's the backbone? Seems like they only have a backbone when it comes to dealing with us in Twitter Spaces. We had Al Capone. Y'all got Al-Shabaab. Don't point your fingers at me until you've done something with Al-Shabaab. They are. Now let's put this into perspective. Western sponsored terrorists are why we're here. So, I mean, again, where's the learning curve? You know what I mean? How long has Africa been dealing with Western terrorists? I mean, would you guys say that Britain, France, Spain, would you guys say that those were Western terrorists? And what they're dealing with now are the descendants of those Western terrorists? What's changed? That's my question. What's changed? What do I think about African countries kicking out France and joining up with Russia before the so-called war? I think they're doing this. They're making the same mistake. Why are they not joining up with each other? Why are they not working on missiles that are stronger than the Sarmat? Yeah, I agree with Maya. Absolutely nothing. So here we are. Here we are. And now they got Blacklight Financial all in their books. They got Blacklight Financial all in their books. Do you think they are just so far oppressed and powerless they can't change? No, I don't think that. I don't think that that's possible. People that want to survive are going to survive. Organisms that want to survive are going to survive. No, I don't think that at all. I honestly, I'm not trying to sound bleak or sound mean or anything, but I honestly don't think about about that or them at all. Because when you've had a 500-year pattern of showing no desire to make any meaningful changes, I mean, how many times could you have lived a complete life within 500 years? As a normal human being, I definitely don't have that kind of time. And nobody's obligated. What this shows is that these people clearly they can't think outside of the immediate reality. Yep, he's right. He's right, and it still goes on today. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not. I listen. You know what I'm saying? I don't need. That's why if you ask me, I'm always like, man, I could care less about unity because it's never going to happen. It hasn't happened in centuries. The reality is that it hasn't happened in centuries. We're looking at it right here. At some point, you gotta say, how are you going to salvage things? How is anything going to perpetuate? Got to ask that logical question. You can't keep banging your head against the wall and expect to put a hole in it, because that's not going to happen. I mean, these people literally have this going on in their countries, and then they want to come here and turn up at us. For what? You're not turning up when people drive a truck full of explosives into the center of a populated town, but you want to turn up at us for what? That's dangerous. It's counterproductive. And it tells me everything I need to know. If somebody's drowning and you've ever been to school to be a lifeguard or any kind of swimming class, one of the things that they'll tell you is send a pole out to that person. Don't go and try to save them, because they'll take you down to the bottom of the lake too, and you'll die. And I mean, are you serious? Look at this. Look at these situations. Literally, you'll die. What if somebody had bought a business over there and was doing business in Mogadishu, and one of these psychos decided to drive a damn truck through there with explosives and blow it up because they have no regard for any damn thing? It divides and conquers here too. Let's not get that twisted. Literally, it divides here. Literally, black people literally look for reasons immediately not to deal with other black people. Immediately. Black people don't look at any other group of people for reasons to not deal with them except for other black people. That's one. And I'm not dealing with that shit. I'm not. And I'm not going to isolate myself from the rest of the world either. And I'd advise everybody else not to. But at the same time, when you actually want to do some shit and try to get some shit done because you do actually care, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? How do you deal with it? What's the answer? Yeah, facts, Carla. We see it every day. What do? People literally look for reasons to fight with each other. I'm not looking for any reason to fight with anybody. Yeah, that's literally it. That's the only thing that you can do. Well, and again, that we're talking about getting played. I mean, like, my thing is, where's the learning curve? Why are people still getting played? There's no excuse for that either, in my opinion. Find like minds. Yeah, that's facts. No, I don't think we deal with it. We don't deal with it. We exert it. Because if we dealt with it, it'd be eroding, but it's getting worse. So we're not dealing with it, because dealing with it is when you solve a problem. We're not solving a problem. It's just, shit is just happening without being dealt with. Honestly, we don't deal with what do we deal with? Yeah, exactly, pretty much, Carla. Yeah. You helped, you pop the black pill and call it a day. Help the ones you can, and everybody else, that, well, whatever. I tried. Look, man, you ain't never lied, DIY Queen. I ain't mad at it. I'm not. And man, me and Izzy did a whole podcast on stereo last night about that. That is so true. So true. Honestly, MC Fact, I gotta disagree. Because at this point, everybody knows what time it is, and people continue to do the same shit. At some point, there's self-accountability. Like, at some point, we have to say, we're doing stupid shit. You know what I know? I know that my job would love to fire me and mess up my life. So you know what I do? I take extra care to do shit to make sure that my job has no reason to bother me. I keep track. I keep notes. I'm constantly looking for other jobs. I'm constantly looking for other ways to make money. Sitting around and saying, well, this group is doing this while we're not doing anything, it doesn't do shit. It actually does worse, because instead of saying that, you could actually be doing something. In these people's case, what they choose to do is drive a truck full of explosives through a neighborhood with women and children. That's what these people in Africa do. You know what I mean? What's good with it, Moxie? I knew you would come in when I had Al Shabab up here. I don't know. Behavior changes. You talked about that group, a small group of people. In my opinion, it's not really a small group. It's a lot larger of a group. And those people understand behavior changes. They understand behavior patterns. And that's one of the reasons why they're confident, because they've screwed people's brains and heads up so damn much. I mean, we exert the anti-black racism towards each other now. They don't even have to do it. You guys do realize that, right? We do their jobs for them. Brought here to do slavery in 2022, we're doing racism towards each other. Like, I hope everybody is clear on that. They don't have to do it. Yeah, you already know, Val. You know how you got to do when you working. Black pills are great. I prefer mine with lemonade. Yeah, no doubt. I like the activated charcoal. You know what I'm saying? What I mean when I say they understand the behavior patterns is that they know there's pay attention to this. The entertainment to court to prison pipeline. There's all these different pipelines set up that people don't even realize that there are. And they put these pipelines together because all they have to do is give you a nudge in one direction or the other, and there you go. It's like going down a water slide. Now you're going down that pipeline. They understand the behavior. Why do you think that the World Health Organization is over there dropping breadcrumbs to these people? Literally dropping breadcrumbs from a helicopter, because they know that they all scatter like roaches, eat the breadcrumbs and fight with each other and not do shit to try to build the country up. They do the same shit to us here. Why do you think they have rats and lab rats and everything in a lab so they can watch how that shit works? Control groups and experimental groups. We're an experimental group. What happens if we do this? What happens if we do that? What happens if we just let syphilis get out of control? What happens if we just let the police blow your damn brains out? People can only say this stuff so much and so loud. I mean, look at this. You are in a resource. Look at this. Look at this complete fucking idiot on the computer screen with this dusty, rusty gun that probably blows him down to the ground when he shoots it with his skinny ass. You're sitting on multi-billion dollars worth of resources, and this is what you're doing in the hot sun. You have hollow tip bullets around your neck like you're living in Mad Max. That's the best thing that you can find to do with your time, is to tie up some damn dynamite, put it in a truck, and drive it through a fucking community full of women and children. That's what you do. Instead of literally just getting a shovel and digging wherever the fuck you're standing, because you're in Africa, you're going to dig up something, some tanzanite, some diamond, some oil. You're going to dig up something that's worth a substantial amount of money if you just put the damn gun down and pick up a shovel. It's sad. And then I come here talking about me no black. Unreal, dude. This is infuriating. You know what I'm saying? Although no group has claimed responsibility, the attack has drawn the attention to the decade-long battle against al-Shabaab. And again, no group has claimed responsibility. This could have literally been the American government doing this. This could have been the American government could have done this just to try to put eyes on al-Shabaab. You don't know. The United States government is that corrupt. They don't care. They don't care, guys. Y'all realize that, right? They don't care. If we understand the design, then why is it not being reverse engineered? That's okay. We know the design. Guess what? I know how to change the oil in my car. Guess what I do? Change the oil. Dead survival instincts. These people literally just want to be sitting ducks. They just want to line up for some bullets. Never seen anything like it. Here in the United States, we dodge bullets. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that's and like, what is it? What is everybody doing? Just sitting around praying and shit? Like, oh, you know, God will deliver us. No, he won't. You see what happens. They don't deliver pizzas here. They deliver truckloads of bombs. God's not going to deliver anything. It's time to do some action. You know what I'm saying? But then these same people want to come to the United States and talk to us crazy. For one, like, we're out here doing this shit. And for two, as if we have a problem with anybody on the continent anyway. Don't nobody even have a problem with anybody on the continent. But nobody's going to sit and take disrespect. I don't look at people on the continent like I'm better than them. But they come over and look at me like they better than me. Okay, cool. I'll leave you to your little bombs and bumper cars then. I got other shit to do. I ain't got time for that shit. Be getting called in a kata and shit, and you up here doing motherfucking this kind of shit. The fuck? Whatever. I don't know when the last time an Akata drove a truck full of bombs through something. White people here do that shit. I guess that's them trying to be white. I don't know. Honestly, don't know, because that's some shit that goes on there too. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But my question is, how do you not learn from your mistakes after 500 fucking years, though? Like that, like, how do you not do that? Like, the survival instinct is completely turned off. I don't know. What is the end goal to this shit? What do they want to do? I mean, are you gonna force anybody to bow down to the East and worship Allah if everybody's damn dead? Are you gonna have everybody singing? Who, if it's a bunch of dead bodies laying around, who's gonna be up bellowing at 6 o'clock in the morning to Allah? Who's gonna be doing that? I mean, like, I don't know if anybody thinks this guy definitely doesn't look like he's capable of thought, but I mean, see, and you guys see what Ash Kiro Moxie is talking about? You see what she's saying? Continued and perpetual derangement of internal politics. You're hearing it from somebody that's from there. We just talked about that earlier, right before she got in here. That is what this looks like. That is. We're not driving bombs into each other, but when you see what they call black on black crime, they're making fun of you calling it black on black crime. What that is terminal political derangement. You've terminated somebody because of a political difference. And instead of giving a black person that kills another black person a paycheck like they do the police, they give you jail time. And yet black people still do that dumbass shit. Why? See, like, when people sit down and really ask these questions and ask why, there is no why. Oh, I know. I damn, I did not mean to do that shit. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just talking about the large amount of those that do. Al-Shabaab, ladies and gentlemen. This is a product of the United States government. It's so easy to derange black internal politics. It's so easy to do. Why? This is my question for everybody. Why? Why are people so easily manipulated and then don't do anything about anybody else, but just literally have the authority of God to say something to another black person? It's disgusting. Like, that shit disgusts me. I swear I want to smack the dog shit out of somebody every single time I see somebody acting like that. I see people act like that at my job all the time. I literally want to walk up to them and smack their face off of their head. Not hit. I don't want to punch. I don't want to kick. I want to open my hands up at a nice where my fingers is about 30 degrees away from each other and my palm is cupped, and smack your motherfucking face down to the floor. Why are you doing that? But then if I literally say anything, I say something, you got to give me the hardest time in the world. See, like, my thing is, I don't want to, like, I'm almost at the point where I'm so frustrated. If people don't, if in particular, black people don't show me the same respect that they show a white person, I'm damn near ready to fight. Because to me, that's just absurd. I shouldn't have to deal with that shit from another black person. I don't even expect I don't expect no special treatment from anybody else. And I don't expect no special treatment from black people. I just expect basic respect. But extra disrespect is absurd. That shit is dumb. The fuck? This shit is dumb. Driving a truck full of explosives. What the fuck did that do? Like, this is literal stupidity. You want to, man, listen, man, and they want to get on Twitter Spaces and talk all kinds of. I mean, this dude has a fucking face towel, a dish towel wrapped around the barrel of this dusty ass gun. These bullets are dusty. Looks like he tried to stop the bomb from blowing up with his teeth. Come on, dog. What do you think you're doing? You've been fighting for how long? How has any of what you're doing helped anything? How has anything improved? Ash Kiro Moxie. Here's my question. Why aren't Al-Shabaab and the government teamed up to kick the West out? Why is that not happening? Why the fuck is the government and Al-Shabaab not on the same side to get the West out? I mean, I'm sorry, like, there is no possible way for me to be as frustrated as I am when I talk about this kind of stuff and to not just be absolutely vulgar. I'm sorry, I cannot do it. I have a lot of self-control, but I don't have that much, because that actually requires a divine level of self-control, and I'm only human. I don't have that. Even if we don't mention that, and I got you, I feel that. Why are these people not like, why are these groups not teamed up with the government to get the West out? I don't understand that. The West is clearly the problem. Like, I don't understand this. Like, see, I don't operate under this mode, so like, I don't understand this shit. I don't go around looking for black people to fight with. Like, I don't go around looking to fight with black people. So I don't understand this shit here. Like, I never will. Like, this shit is crazy, man. How can you not see like what's going on? Like literally in the heart of where all the shit started, and you still don't get it. This is not ancient history. Like, this is still going on to this day. I mean, who does this? The group has been characterized by small-scale attacks against the military and police, making this incident particularly extraordinary if al-Shabaab did perpetrate it. Earlier this year, the Islamist group vowed to increase attacks after the U.S. government stepped up its presence, and the Somali president Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed took office in February 2017. And I guarantee you the United States installed this dude. The United States does not need, this is what I'm talking about. What the United States calls spreading democracy is actually derangement of internal politics. It's the United States exerting global white supremacy. Now, if all lives matter, I want to know why these people are not getting the same ability to come to this country as Ukrainians are. They'll whip these people on horses and ship them back if they try to come. Is that Ashkiro Moxie, is the central government controlled by the United States? If you guys can, please make sure that you guys smash that like button and hit the bell. Is the central government controlled by the United States? See? You know what though, MC Fact? It's the government and it's our government. It's our government. Our government does it. And they're actually not. What's up with the CJOJ? They're actually not civilized at all. You saw how uncivilized they got when they thought some black people were about to save their lives. So they're not civilized. I mean, we can't believe that this is happening here. I mean, this is Europe. What do you mean you can't believe this is happening here? You had shit flowing in your streets. So much so that it developed a bubonic plague and damn near eradicated your entire race. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't believe that shit happened. Seriously? Worse has happened. The fuck? Right there, right in that general locality, the Bolshevik Revolution happened. What are you talking about? Where a bunch of Russians were slaughtered. Are you serious? Are we forgetting who we are? Fuck. And then all I see is Putin's bombs killing blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids. Yeah, there's not Nazis in that government or any damn thing. Like, way to make your case. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, not the brightest, but it's us that has the 68 IQ. Putin's accusing you guys of Nazis, and then they got this motherfucker up here talking about saving the blonde, blue-eyed kids. Now, again, I just want to make this clear. I don't have no problem with blonde, blue-eyed people. I'm just saying we're talking about hypocrisy here. Like, come on now. The U.S. is always playing both sides. They're always deranging internal politics at all times. Always. Always. So what you see going on here, what they do with the genders, what they do with black people, what they do with politics, because you know it's easy to make some black people fight. All you gotta do is just give them a white leader and they'll fight. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump or Joe Biden. I'll fight you over Joe Biden. Donald Trump ain't done shit. He's a racist. Oh, Joe Biden is doing all this great shit for us. You're dumb. Stupid. How about shut the fuck up and figure out why you're not ruling yourself? Why don't you have control over your commodities? Yeah. I mean, like, the thing is why are we sitting here acting like, there's no degeneracy coming from that society? And the thing that's so crazy is that they're so sensitive that when they see, so white people, when they try to put other people down and you say, hey, wait a minute, you're saying this, but let me share these facts with you. Well, you're being racist. No, you're being racist because you're the one that's making the perpetual assertion that you're better than everybody and that you speak for everybody and that you're the beacon of morality and that your religion is superior. No. If you want to sit there and act like you're better than the rest of the world and say, I can't believe this happened, this is Europe, let's go down the history of Europe, particularly in that part of the world. Let's talk about where the Dracula legend came from, Vlad the Impaler. Let's talk about what he did. Let's talk about the Crusades. Let's talk about soap. Let's talk about World War I and World War II. Guess what? 2 out of 2 world wars were because of Europe. 0 out of 2 world wars were because of anybody black. So next time there's a war somewhere, the higher likelihood is that it's in Europe. It's not highly likely that non-European people will go to war. It's highly likely because 1 out of 100% of atomic bombings were done by white people. Because, why not? Why not just, radiate the entire Japan? Let's not forget the airstrikes that the United States did in Serbia. Other white people, victims of white supremacy. People still suing about the radiation damage that they have. People being born with cancer. So let's stop acting brand new. Like, this is Europe. Yeah, it is. It is. And that's nothing that's a stranger to Europe. War. Like, are you serious? It's the only thing any of those European emperors and European kings were known for is war. What is Napoleon known for? War. He's not known for innovating. He's not known for being brilliant. He's not known for anything other than being a low impulse control savage. For being a short nothing. That's what he's known for. He's proudly the mascot of a complex associated with short men. That's your hero. The quote, great General Napoleon. How are you great? Do you know what great means? Great means large. Short man syndrome is named after you. Again, system of illegitimacy. I'm so tired of this. Al-Shabaab is a jihadist insurgent group active in Somalia and in recent years, increasingly Kenya. Now, let me ask you guys something. Let's bring it back to economics. I think I'm done with my rant. If you have a group like this running around, what does it do? Yeah, Agent Orange. Let's talk about that. We'll just do that shit to our own soldiers for one, and Asian men and women. It always boggles my mind why Asian society gets so uncold with white people. Or with white supremacists. I should say white supremacists, not white people. It boggles my mind. Atomic bombs, 2 of them. Agent Orange. All of the human trafficking and just the abuse of Asian women that white men do. Like, I'll never understand it. I'll never get it. I'd like to ask one day, like, are y'all smoking that same shit that they smoke over there in Africa? Because I don't understand your logic. Why you get on code with that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I guess. I don't know. I've never I don't know, man. I never really fucked with that shit. I've always seen Dub as like it's never not been evident to me. I've never had on like rose-colored glasses. That's why, like, yeah, man, that's a whole nother story for another day. But yeah, like, man, I don't understand. I don't get it. The group developed in the early 2000s, parallel to and later in partnership with the Union of Islamic Courts that overran the capital, Mogadishu, and installed themselves as administrators over Mogadishu and much of Somalia. I mean, they still fighting over white religions. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing this in the name of Allah. Like, are you serious? Grow up. You're going to do it in the name of Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy next? Like, Al-Shabaab comprised the young radical armed wing of UIC. Their full name translates into Movement of Jihadi Youth. I mean, they're sacrificing kids for this. No God, if there's an actual God, no God that actually loves you is going to have your child running around with bombs strapped to him. No God is going to do that. The group, however, outlasted the UIC, which was ousted from the capital in December of 2006 by Ethiopia, which feared it would threaten Ethiopia's own security as well as regional and international interest. Al-Shabaab went on to launch a successful guerrilla insurgency and conquered and administered large parts of Somalia, including crucial port cities such as Kismayo. Estimates of its size range from 5,000 to 9,000 fighters. These people are these people that are doing these people are not salvageable. You guys understand that, right? Like, seriously, type in a 1 if you understand that. These people that are doing this, they're not salvageable. See? Now, you see how religion derailed the internal politics there? The government was stable. They didn't like the ideology. They kicked them out. These people are on code with Islam. They have all the smoke for other black people who aren't Islamic. Again, controlled by white mind control mechanisms called religion. I'm going to do this in the name of Allah. You don't even know whose name is Allah, and you can't even prove Allah. But you're going to drive a vehicle full of explosives through a city. Do you see how freaking stupid this is? When you have a group there that is already terrorizing the people. This is madness. Somalia has been a Muslim country. And see, that's what needs to stop. Who made Somalia a Muslim country? We talked about it. Y'all saw what was going on in this video. Africa or Somalia was a Muslim country. Somalia is a black country. See, that Muslim shit, that's the same as LGBTQ. I'm putting that shit first. You can be LGBTQ, cool, but don't act like, don't do that. I'm not going to go on a jihad for LGBTQ. I'm a man. I'm not, when it comes to that, don't nobody give a fuck about me being a black man. I'm black, period. I know I'm a man. I'm reminded of that shit every time I'm in front of a fucking urinal. I don't need to pound my chest and hold hands with other men. And I'm proud to be a man. We're all brothers. No, we're not. I got one brother. You only want me around to boost your numbers. When I'm not there, you talk about how my IQ is low and how I'm prone to crime. There is there's no male unity. The fuck? I'm unified with people that have a like mind to me. If those people happen to be a woman, if they happen to be a man, you know what I'm saying? If it happens to be anybody, as long as you got a like mind. It's all about the men. Are you serious? The same people that say it's all about the men back in the 1960s had motherfuckers so fucked up they had to walk around with signs on that said that they're men. Get the fuck out of here. Those motherfuckers don't give two fucks about your manhood. Did you look at this picture? Look who they got on the ground. Do they care about your manhood? People better wake up, man.
As the Europeans founded more and more colonies in the Americas, the more slaves could be sold and the richer the trader became. And this trade had a long-term effect on the economies of Africa, both in West Africa as well as East Africa with the Ottomans. Because before industrialization, the economy of a country was determined by the amount of people living in the country. The more people you had, the larger your economy was. And if you had a large economy, then you could have a...
See, again, they boosting the numbers. Literally, that's all we are. That's why we have social security numbers. That is all we are, is numbers. Oh, we don't want to treat you like you're just a number. We're just numbers. We're literally just commodities. We're commodities now. We're commodities to the Democrats. We're commodities to the Republicans. You're commodities to the manosphere. You're commodities to anything that you didn't create. You're just a commodity. If somebody is your friend or not. People aren't dumb. But listen, Ash Kiro Moxie, everything came from us. So that's not even a thing. The extreme interpretation came from where? It came from the Middle East. It came from other white people. It is a problem. There was Christians in Ethiopia and people who practice Judaism in Ethiopia as well. That's not causing global problems. The white interpretation of that stuff is because they use it to devalue people. People from Iraq, Middle Eastern Caucasians have turned this shit into some violent shit that people are associating with violence. Anytime a religion is contaminated with white supremacy, it's always a problem. It'll always make it violent. It'll always make it want to make you harm people who are like you. Always. Rap music used to be, really cool. You know what I'm saying? They had like Queen Latifah and, you know what I'm saying, when Heavy D used to wear the cross colors shit. It was infected. Now it tells you to kill yourself, kill other people. TV shows used to be cool. They used to be productive. They used to tell people about trying to make a better life for themselves. Not so much anymore, because who's controlling them? If I'm talking about the way that a religion is, You guys got to think multidimensional. I'm not talking about the original form. We all know what the original form of everything is. If we're talking about the modern day warped version of it, that should just be understood. Nobody was driving a truck through neighborhoods full of bombs back then when Muhammad was walking the earth in Africa. You know what I mean? Nobody was doing that shit. There was no KKK when people in Ethiopia were practicing Christianity. Yeah. And see, this is what I'm saying. So if I sit there and say I'm not religious. I don't believe in religion, but religion is not harmful until it's converted into a hateful ideology. Who has converted every single religion into a hateful ideology? Who's done it? Not us. But for whatever reason, it's like hypnosis. It's like you can't turn the switch off.
Small portion of your population focus on producing things other than food. In Europe, for example, craftspeople produced all sorts of things from alcoholic drinks, steel, muskets, cigars, and of course that sweet, sweet, delicious chocolate. But it took centuries for those industries to fully mature. But in Africa, these industries never matured like they did in the rest of the world. Because in Africa, craftspeople were enslaved, and this had a tremendous impact on the African economies. While European, Asian, and American industries kept growing.
And I mean, like, where's the discernment? Again, like the social discernment. Like, there's only so much of this stuff that you can blame on outside groups. We all know what outside groups were there for. Anytime people come anywhere, they're trying to exploit. We all know that. When you know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. People are like that. People are predatory. We're predators. We eat meat. But you don't notice that you're destroying your. I mean, like, you don't notice that the rest of the world is advancing around you, and something you're doing is keeping you screwed. And the people that you're breaking bread with aren't helping you to advance as well, or they're not breaking bread with you in a way that is advancing you. How do you not notice that? Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of accountability. I mean, and the thing is that, yeah, I agree. I don't agree with everything Jason Black says either. I don't agree with everything Tariq Nasheed says. I don't agree with everything that anybody says. I don't agree with some of the shit y'all say. Oh, well. Motherfuckers are too fucking sensitive. Just because I don't agree with some shit doesn't mean I hate you. I agree that you should be allowed to live. I see people will get upset with me. Oh, you need to be shunned. You need to be shunned. You need to not be talked to anymore. Hey. Hello. I agree that you should be allowed to breathe. You think we can have that in common? Because I can tell you some people that don't think that you should be allowed to breathe. I just showed one in the beginning of the video. But for some reason, that's rocket science. See, like, I don't have a tolerance for that. Okay, like, everything that Tariq said, it doesn't touch anything that any of this stuff caused. Tariq can say somebody has flies on them all he wants to. How does that amount to this? And where did this come from? Like, come on. Like, come on. Seriously? If I'm gonna tell, and I'm not trying to be mean, CJLJ, you know I fucks with you, but if people can't take name calling, you're dead. You may as well give it up already. And Tariq said shit because shit was said to him. See, we don't go to African, spaces and different things like that and say we're better. We don't do that shit. It's always African people trying to tell us what we need to do, what we need to identify with, who we are. No. I get it, Ash Kiro. And again, I wouldn't try to make anybody like Tariq. I don't agree with everything Tariq says, but I do agree with somebody's right to defend himself. And I'm sorry, it's African people that go around talking shit about black people. We don't talk shit about y'all. Even in this series right here that I'm doing called Auditing Africa, I'm not talking shit about African people. You know when I started talking shit about African people to some African people? When some African people came in here talking shit to me when I wasn't even talking about that shit. I've never seen anybody in here decide to just go in on African people. It does not go in both ways. That's not true. And when somebody gives a response and that response happens to be vile, then that's just what it is. Like how you just said, oh, well, Tariq said this. I mean, did you not hear the entire paragraph? Did you not hear the girl get on before him and tell him how ADOS people ain't shit? Like, are you serious? The problem is that there's a flat learning curve after 500 years. That's the problem. And they didn't become like, you know what becomes like rock becomes smooth as water flows down it for millions of years. You know what I mean? I know in the career field that I work in, I work with a lot of people from many different African cultures. You know what nobody ever told me? Nobody ever told me not to marry an African. Nobody ever told me not to marry anybody. You know what? I did an article, a video. What's up with it, BB? I did a video about what Nigerian mothers warn their daughters about when they go to college. Don't you bring an Akata home. You know who talks like that? White people. Don't you come home with no N-word. Most black people don't care about that shit. Black people care about that shit when it's when it starts to affect your behavior and turns you away from what you actually are. That's when people care about that shit. Wait a minute, you acting funny out here. Hold on. 9 times out of 10, if you're being respectful and keeping it real, black people look past a lot of shit. Some don't, but most do. See, and that's good, Ash Kiro. That's how I mean people should just I don't understand why anybody would say that, especially against another group of black people. Like I don't understand that shit. In every conversation that I've ever had with other black people, with other, foundational black Americans, mixed people who have a parent who's foundational black Americans, no one is bringing up Africans. No one. Like, yeah, there's a whole world out there. You know what's going on in that world? White Ukrainians are pushing Nigerians off of buses. That's what's going on. Do you hear about American descendants of slavery shooting up Africans in the hood? No. But never mind. I was gonna say some shit, but I ain't. I mean, like, let's put it into perspective here. Let me ask you this. Do you ever see a black rapper? Let's do this. Do you ever see a black rapper, I'm going to make an album cover with Nelson Mandela with gold teeth on it. I'm going to make a video talking about my gold is shiny like Nana Addo's head. Do you ever hear any black rappers do that shit? No. You don't. Do you ever hear black people get in front of a camera and just go the fuck in on African people? No. But do you hear Africans and people from the Caribbean do that every single opportunity that they get? And not only every single opportunity do they do that, you have dummies like Joey Reid who literally go in front of a camera and call us a hate group. Or say that our reparations claims aren't valid. That's what people from Africa come to the United States and do. Show me where any black person has ever gotten in front of a camera and shitted on an African. And don't even dare say Obama because he's Kenyan. Like, it's not true. The urban legends have got to stop. It's got to stop. If you meet one asshole, you meet one black person who happens to be an asshole and they start talking shit about you because you're African, because there are ignorant motherfuckers out there like that, because we're black, we're foundational black Americans, and you have an African descent. And you all have made it very clear that you don't want any association, which is cool. I'm being respectful of ethnicity because that's what everybody cares about is their ethnicity. Actually, everybody's experience of the world is their only experience. Like, are we literally about to sit here and say that 500 are we about to say that 500 years of history is not real? And I support you. That doesn't mean what is that? Does that make me African? I didn't grow up in Africa. I wasn't born in Africa. My mom is Latina. That's not a generalization. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is when people start to get emotional. Like, it is what it is. You can't change the goalpost. Exactly, Ash. Thank you, Ash Kiro. Okay, so let me ask you this. What association would you like? I'm not perpetuating any negative stereotypes. What association would you like? If I say I'm Nigerian, I'm false flagging. What association would you like? Ash Kuro says she's bliggity bliggity black, y'all. She blackity black. What association would you like? What would you like me to do? What should I do? Okay, so now I'm asking you, what kind of association would you like? This is what I'm asking. What kind of association would you like? The floor is yours. What would you like? You know what I'd like? I'd like Al-Shabaab to not drive trucks full of explosive through neighborhoods with women and children. You know what I'd like? I'd like to see all the countries in Africa profit at maximum capacity from their resources. Well, I'm not here to play a guessing game. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't have much time. This is actually one of my streams that's not going to be as long as usual. What is it that you want? Like, this is what I'm saying. You all, and I'm saying you all because the large majority, you don't feel that we should get reparations. I feel that we should get reparations directly from Nigeria, as well as the United States, as well as Ghana, as well as Gambia, as well as Sierra Leone, as well as Ivory Coast. So when it comes to me personally, because like you said, my worldview isn't the only worldview. My worldview is that every African country that's involved in the transatlantic slave trade should definitely be paying us reparations, as well as the United States. So a lot of African people have an issue with that, which I don't blame you. I mean, the way that the resources are getting drained from there, it's not like you're going to have a couple $1 trillion to pay those reparations that are owed to American descendants of slavery, chattel slavery. So my question is like, okay, so now how do you support reparations from the West, but you disagree on reparations from African countries? How does that work? How does that work? Somebody explain that double standard to me. Let me tell you something about African countries. Ghana, yeah, I know some of us were already here. I know. Shouts out to those of us who were already here. The reason why Ghana is doing repatriation is because they're guilty, just like Nigeria's guilty, just like Senegal's guilty, just like Ivory Coast is guilty, just like Sierra Leone is guilty. They put the down payment on white supremacy and bounced the check. That ain't our fault. No. There was a lot of people that were sold. Hence, it's called a transatlantic slave trade. And as far as I'm concerned, even before contact with the Europeans, the whole practice of African slavery led to all of that. So reparations need to get paid from Africa, period. Whatever country it was that thought of the bright idea to ship you over here. I don't understand why when it comes to certain things, people don't feel that they should be accountable. The trade who was it with? Not only did they trade slaves with the Europeans, they traded slaves with the Arabs. And that's a whole part that y'all just got for free that nobody's even coming after you about. Now, here's my thing, Jay. If there was no case for African nations to pay reparations, why is it that most of those places like Ghana are offering repatriation? African nations gave an apology for the transatlantic slave trade before the United States did. And you know what? I asked Kiro, there was more black people, Africans, that did the dirty work for white people. Do you know the history of sickle cell? There was some white people that their bodies couldn't even tolerate going beyond sub-Saharan Africa. And malaria would practically kill them in a day or two. So guess who did the dirty work? Guess who always does the dirty work? Now, you know what I'm saying? What kind of right of return do we have? Are you serious? Do you have to have a passport for what is it, like 25 out of 54 countries? And it's just going to be easy for us to I'm just going to pick up my life and go back home. And again, like my mom isn't even of, quote, tribal African descent. I'm a foundational Black American, which means that we're admixed. I look different than people in Africa. I talk different than people in Africa. I don't speak the regional languages. How is anybody welcoming anybody back? And let me ask you something. If a abusive boyfriend welcomed you back, would you run willingly to his open arms? I highly doubt it. So let me ask you this. Where is the citation that, quote, most were taken, and most were taken without a cash or resource transaction? Yeah, for one, I'm a man. So yeah, you're a woman, clearly. So there's that. Would you like to look up some trade logs of the Africa company that was owned by the Queen of England? Like the people in UK, they literally have sales receipts. Like, we're not doing that. This kind of shit is the same thing that motherfuckers say when they say January 6th was crisis actors. Like, and nobody's selling a victimhood narrative. Let me tell you something. If you're involved in an illegal transaction, both parties go to jail. So if you buy something stolen, you're both guilty. If you sold something stolen and received money for it, you're guilty. It's not a victimhood narrative. It's what happened. I don't understand what people can't get about that. It was irresponsible. And the problem is that there's a behavior pattern, and the behavior pattern is still going on there today. I mean, I literally just read an article about somebody brilliant that decided to drive a vehicle full of explosives through a city with women and children in the name of Allah. Nothing has been learned. Why is there a flat learning curve? And everyone else has learned how to juice the entire continent. Like, where is the learning curve? We're supposed to be dumb. But I identify that there's a flat learning curve. Why has the learning curve flatlined? That's the question. Here we go. Leaders are corrupt. No shit. Deal with the leaders. You don't think the leaders were corrupt here? How do you think Jim Crow happened? But we're lazy Akatas. Like, we're lazy Akatas. We just sat around and waited until they decided to say, nah, we ain't doing Jim Crow anymore. Sometimes you got to get your hands dirty. Sometimes people have to die. Like, you realize that, right? See, like the people in Ukraine, they're ready to die. Over here in the United States, we were ready to die. Yeah, exactly, Muppet. The government. Okay. Our government was evil too. The same government that's deranging you guys' internal politics, we're in the center of it. Like, are you for real? We're in the center of it. Are you serious? You all are sitting on literal, not figuratively, pay very close attention. Literally, you're sitting on gold mines. That's why we're auditing Africa, because this shit must cease. Like, this is ridiculous, dude. Like, the lack of accountability is insane. And the problem is nobody would care if there wasn't all of the vitriol and nonsense. I mean, look at what Nigeria is making. $480 billion. $480 billion. And then you got Africa about to be crippled by this war with Russia and Ukraine because there's a critical food shortage in Kenya. Look at this. Why are you importing energy? Like, this is like, what's the excuse for any of this mismanagement of these resources? Like, I'm not gonna not say anything about that. Like, look at this. Look at these numbers. Tanzania is looking to attract $30 billion in foreign investment. Why are 4,000 Nigerians studying in a country that historically has a Nazi government? Why? I wish I knew. I wish I knew, Ash Kiro. But you saw the report yesterday. Yeah, but here's the problem. I do say something. I don't know where you've been, you know what I'm saying? But I've been doing this Auditing Africa series. But anytime when it's time for us to talk about our shit that we need, is, oh, you don't need that, and we had it worse. It's not the oppression Olympics. We have our own separate and individual struggles. I don't know if people are aware of this, but no foundational Black Americans support any of the exploitation of Africa. Nobody's behind that. We wonder why y'all sit there like punching bags. We don't get it. In my opinion, we're not aggressive enough. I know why. Like, are you like, I've been explaining why. Poor business management, flat learning curve, no sense of unity, can't put down ideological differences. No one is patient to wait anymore. Nigeria just got, are you serious? Nigeria just got a huge infrastructure endowment from China. Again, poor money management. Like this, I'm sorry, like none of this bullshit is flying anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? A brain drain. That's facts, Ash Kiro. Like, and my thing is, like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful because, like I said, I don't have no problem with African people. I have the same problem with African people that are aggressive and try to attack that I have with white people that are aggressive and try to attack. Because I don't hate any group of people, but I do love my culture and I do love honesty. Get the leaders out of there. Y'all saw what the white people was about to do in the United States. People love white people so much, copy the shit they did. January 6th. Get you some Confederate flags, get you a couple muskets, march your ass down to your Capitol building. Al-Shabaab did it. I mean, they really don't, BB. I mean, Ash Kuro is cool. And again, like I said, I know a lot of people that's, you know what I'm saying, like that are just like my brothers and sisters. But like this shit is just like wow though, man. Like it's just like the denial is just crazy. And it's distraction is what it is. And the thing is that ain't no black people out here trying to put no magnifying glass on Africans to make Africans look bad. No one is doing that. Like that is not what people are preoccupied with. You got a woman named Joy Reid whose whole career is based on undermining black people. Like, are you serious? Barack Obama, a whole Kenyan president whose agenda was undermining black people. Show me where any black person went to Kenya and undermined them. Show me where any black person went to Congo and undermined them. It is that easy. Are you serious? We just got human rights in the 1960s. Like my dad grew up without human rights. That's all y'all do is just try to like brush off somebody else's history like the shit we went through here didn't matter. And like y'all didn't have any contribution into that shit. Like we got two groups that we got to deal with. Y'all as the result of us being here and the people that oppress us here. And the people that come over from other countries, other black countries that want to get right in with those people. I mean, like, it's just like literally Africa, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we do better than you guys. Do better at what? You do better at assimilating to white supremacy. Yes. That's what that means when you say, oh, we come and contribute to the society. That's doing the same thing that's going on there because guess what? Africa's contributing to the world. It just happens to be contributing to the white world. It's not contributing to the whole world. It's contributing to the white world. Just like how when a lot of people come over here. As much, I think the World Health Organization said that they were going to try to get together $70 million for Kenya. Why doesn't Nigeria have schools that are safe and free of Nazis that the brilliant Nigerian kids can go to? Because let me tell you something, Nigerian people are some of the smartest people on the planet, which means that if Nigerians decided to build an education institute, it would probably be far superior. Why doesn't that exist? I know a doctor, this dude named Dr. Amanambu, one of the smartest dudes that I ever met in my life. Nigerian cat. But like what's crazy is that you more Like CJOJ, let me ask you this. Like, I gotta ask you this. How you more mad about Tariq Nasheed for a roast than you are about you people from Ukraine, like literally like just leaving people there that are from your country? Like, I like that shit don't make any sense to me, man. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like the misplaced rage, it don't make any sense. I'm gonna put this video back up real quick. Give me 1 second, y'all. I want y'all to see this real quick.
And kept improving, Africa's industries stagnated. And soon they could no longer compete with European and Asian imports, and the African industries became small and insignificant because you could buy better and cheaper products from Asian and European markets. But you might be asking yourselves, why did the Africans go along with this? Well, because they had to. When you have several warlike empires surrounding you, you yourself have to invest in a strong military to protect yourself. But if you put more money in the military, it means there is less money for you to spend on your own economy. So if an African leader realized what was going on, they couldn't invest in industries because they had to protect themselves. And so all the way into the 19th century, Africa's economies were slowly declining because the slave trade slowly destroyed the African economies, while making a huge profit for those who captured and sold slaves. But why did Western Europeans and the Ottomans weaken Africa for hundreds of years? Well, because it was convenient for the people in charge at that time. It wasn't some grand plan, but instead, each government, trader, and company saw an opportunity in Africa to earn profit. This profit came at the expense of African long-term wealth, with most of the people involved probably not even realizing this. And when a particular region becomes weaker, there are always the strong who will exploit the weak. And in the 19th century, 3 major events happened that would solidify African poverty. The first was the end of slavery. All of a sudden, African slave traders were losing customers because slavery was becoming illegal across the world. And this was a big problem for African countries because their economies relied on exporting slaves and importing foreign goods. But now they lost their main source of income. And because Africa had not built up any other industries because of the slave trade, it did not have another source of income with which it could trade with the outside world. So Africans could no longer buy many of the goods and tools they relied on. And as a result, the African economies slowly collapsed in the 19th century. The second major event in the 19th century was industrialization. Europeans and Americans started to outproduce the rest of the world. Africa became insignificant in world affairs by the middle of the 19th century. And many of the stereotypes about Africans, such as that they have no history, no established government, and various racist beliefs, came about in this time period, when Africa had become weak with little to offer the outside world, and the outside world taking little interest in Africa. And then the third major event happened in the 1870s. With Africa's economy in shambles and European industrialization in full swing, Europe, all of a sudden, had the ability to transport vast amounts of heavy materials across oceans. Before, it would not be profitable to transport heavy ores from Africa to Europe because the technology simply wasn't available yet to make it profitable. But steam technology meant trains, steamboats, and factories that could transport and produce goods at a profit. And in 1871, the King of Belgium decided that Belgium should have a colony, looked at the world map, and noticed that Africa was both weak and available.
So it's not even that. Like, my thing is, like, with me, like, okay, like, I hear people saying that shit, right? Like, I hear people say that. That's not the argument that I take, though, as far as like the whole leaving thing and all of that, right? Like, I never say that. That right there is some Tariq Nasheed talking point, which, if Tariq Nasheed wants to say that, it's freedom of speech. My thing is, what is the what are we doing that is so bothersome to people, to black people who come and immigrate here? Your reason for immigrating is your reason. That's your business. It's not for me to judge. I'm not from where you're from. I'm not trying to quantize any issues that you had, like anybody that's from anywhere else overseas. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people may say that kind of shit. I don't never say it. My question is, what is the problem with me? I'm doing my thing. I gotta sit here and listen to somebody say, well, why are you not doing this? How do you know what I'm doing? How is what, even if I'm not doing anything, even if I work at Uber 2 days a week and I got a part-time job at McDonald's, how is that bothering somebody that's immigrating here? One thing that black people don't do a lot of is, like, we don't sit around and say, like, oh, you black immigrants are taking our jobs. We don't say that. Like, that's not a talking point that we use. Y'all come over here and be like, y'all don't have jobs, which is a lie. Lazy Akata. Like, we're we're a feral cat. We're an uncultured feral cat, you know, because we were, quote, taken, quote, like that movie with Liam Nelson, Taken. And see, and that's how it should be, because that's how I am. The only time I ever have an issue is when people come and talk shit. And then when I say some shit back, then it's, well, I can't believe you said that. Yeah. I mean, like, I can't believe I was minding my business and somebody had the audacity to come fucking with me. I can't believe that shit. Can you? You know, like, can we get a little reciprocity for the we can't believe shit? Here's my question. And this is an honest question, and I'm not saying this to like be mean or anything. I'm saying this for real, because I want to know. I don't believe that people that come to the United States from other majority black countries, they don't come with an intent on fighting white supremacy. So my thing is, are you operating under escapism, or do you believe it doesn't exist because it's in a different form here? So because you come here and you're not used to the form that it's in here, you want to tell us, be quiet, we're making too much noise. We might cause problems for you getting your bag. Is that what it is? No, I get angry when people tell me I'm not black because I'm East African. You don't tell me what I am. That's crazy. I don't know who told you that shit. I don't know why they told you that. That's fucked up though that they told you that. I mean, I don't know why somebody would tell you that. Whoever told you that though, that's some dumbass shit. So I mean, my bad. I didn't even mean to click your comment, BB, but let me read it anyway. Akata is known wild bush cat that lives in the forest mainly of Nigeria and Benin. We know, yeah. So it's the same thing, similar to India. Unfortunately, some Africans still see all things white as success. Okay. Again, like we're still operating under a failed learning curve. Is there any plan to correct anything, or is the corrective mechanism to come to the United States? That's my question. Because if the corrective mechanism is to come to the United States, then there's nothing that like have a good career. You know what I mean? Like, because there's nothing really that can be done. Because that means that you can't even conceptualize the problem that we're dealing with. So, like, is the end result of the plan like you finally outran white supremacy when you make it to the port of Miami? Like, I don't understand like what it is. I don't understand what it is that people think. Do you know how many victims of crime, non-foundational Black Americans there are? And just embarrassing the shit out of people. Botham John getting killed by Amber Geiger, and them just going to love just showing love and affection for Amber Geiger. Like, are you serious? I mean, clearly there's clearly no intention there of dealing with any kind of racism or any kind of issue that we have here. Botham John's family is just lucky that they didn't just start whooping their asses in court. So they just giving out free hugs and shit. Like, I don't understand that. But see, I literally just talked about this shit. Look at y'all in the chat. Like, we just gonna fight. While this dude right here that took over part of Africa just sitting here staring at y'all like y'all stupid. Because there's a 500-year flat learning curve. You know, you know what I find is interesting. I wouldn't say that you're woke, CJOJ. I think you're getting there, but I wouldn't say that you're woke. I wouldn't say that I'm woke. I don't think anybody is fully awake. Can I ask you a question? If you just decided to like buy a plot of land in Africa and you just dug up like some gold, like they just found just gold for no reason all over the Congo, like that's probably potentially more total than you can make in worthless dollars in the United States. Why is it that Jack Dorsey and other millionaires are what's up with it, DJ Omo, are investing in Africa? China's investing in Africa, Putin is investing in Africa, and Africans are leaving Africa. See, like, I'm not trying to be funny, right? And I'm not trying to be funny, but this happened. See, Ash Kiro is cool. We was in here having a conversation and shit. But we was just watching a video on how African people fought and tribalism, and that's how European powers took over. We was in here chilling, chopping it up, having a good time, watching these videos, and now it's all out war in the comment section. What's the common denominator? You can't take everybody with you. You know what I'm saying? You don't need money to make money. That's not true. The people that formed the United States didn't have any money. They just killed a bunch of people and had diseases, and people that were trying to fight back died. So that's not true. You don't need money to make money. And how are they see, like, this is that shit. See, that might be why you don't like Tariq Nasheed, because the one African guy that Tariq Nasheed was talking to was saying how stupid foundational Black Americans are and how much smarter African people are because they get degrees and shit like that. So then when Tariq asked about the illiteracy rate, he said that everybody there is illiterate. So how the hell, like, how do they not know about intellectual property rights, but they do know more than everybody else to come here and do better than everybody else? And even dumbass rappers know about intellectual property rights. I mean, even dumb motherfuckers like coke sniffing celebrities know to buy their own masters. But you mean to tell me that some 250 IQ Nigerian doesn't know that, who has 5 degrees in thermodynamics? Come on now. No, I don't look at things too simplistically. Are you seriously? Are you serious? I'm doing a whole series auditing Africa's economy. How is that looking at things too simplistic? Do you audit? Do you even balance your checkbook? I'm auditing an entire economy. Like, what? Like, for real? Like, we literally went through the GDP of about 10 countries yesterday. And and you know what we learned about yesterday? We learned about an African billionaire. That's what we learned about yesterday. And, like, you don't need money to dig up land. You need a shovel. See, so if you ever say poor me, you don't get to tell anybody else that they're being a victim. What can the average poor African person do? Like, you just said poor me. You know what though? Let me ask you this. Black Canadians, right? You know, when you take resources out of a country, it hurts that country, and every Black Canadian isn't Nigerian. So, like, when people come to the United States and they make all this money and they don't spend it in the US economy, it's the same as, like, when Black people don't participate with Black businesses. So, like, you're hurting the Canadian economy as a whole. The American economy gets screwed every day because people don't buy American. They not only buy foreign products, but they send money outside of America. Like, I don't know, like, do you think, like, Canadians with a lot of pride in their country like hearing that? Well, there you go. That's one of the problems. Because if you really care, then you do what you have to do. And see, that's a choice. They're not willing to do what they have to do. They're willing to settle. So once the bloodthirst is there, then maybe something will change. But the bloodthirst is not there. You know why? Because there's people here in the United States that spend all day digging. So organize. Like, I mean, like, organize. I mean, like, I'm doing this shit called Auditing Africa, and, like, literally all we're doing is looking at the economy flow. Like, that's it. When is the last time anybody actually ever did that? And why the hell not? What does the African Union actually do other than take orders from the European Union? Like, what do they do? Did they set up the African Union so they see the white men in suits and so that they don't feel bad? Like, what's the purpose of it? Why? Like, I shouldn't be asking you these questions, CJOJ. You guys should be putting the pressure on your government to demand the answer for these questions. Nothing that goes on in Africa, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it might benefit me if I'm able to find some people that don't hate foundational Black Americans and would be willing to do some business or something like that. But God only knows that that's a rarity. That's a scarce commodity. Okay. How now let me ask you about political risks. I just read about how people drive vehicles full of explosives like it's the damn wild, wild west out there. Who's going to want to invest in a company that doesn't have any security? Because I guarantee you, you're not about to hire the Mossad to make sure that the grounds are safe. Because clearly you have scumbags like Al Shabaab riding around and God knows who else. So my question is, why are the people not putting the pressure on the government? If you're not, you just said that people aren't willing to dig for gold. Digging for gold might be that thing that feeds their family, because I don't know if you know about the statistics in Ethiopia, but 70% of Ethiopia is starving, and that includes the families. You make a way. If your kids are starving, you make a way. If you only have 1 calorie left, you die on that last calorie trying to feed your family. Think about this. Conservative people here in the United States, they feel that the election was not fair. Now, as much as people like to turn their noses up and say that foundational Black Americans ain't shit and we didn't go through anything, those people that turned up at the Capitol, I think we can all agree that they haven't dealt with as much here as foundational Black Americans. But they felt that that was an injustice enough to go to the Capitol with guns. Now, if an election loss and speculation of illegitimacy was that important to those people who do eat 3 times a day, you'd think that eating once a day would be enough for those people to do the same thing. That's what you think. So again, like, this is what I'm saying with the arrogance. Like, people got to watch that arrogance. Okay, so survey. But here's the problem, though. One thing that I noticed, right? When it comes to dealing with particular people, they don't even do enough research to come with adequate arguments. You just literally say stuff and hope that it sticks. So if you're not willing to put in the work to even come up with a coherent argument or to have actual solid talking points, then you're not going to put in that kind of effort that's required to get sweaty, to get dirty, to dig, to discover something. Like, that's just not going to happen. And you know what does happen? The people who are going to do it, do it. But okay, so this is what I'm saying. So make a political organization. I can't make a political organization for Africa. I don't know what the hell goes on there. I'm not, then this is what I'm saying. I'm not from. How would I be of any benefit? I'm not even of any benefit with any kind of political organization for Black people here in the United States. I just talk about topics on YouTube. But that's something. But instead of making a political organization, you're making 6 figures in Canada. I think Justin Trudeau has Canada under control. I guarantee you 54 out of 54 countries in Africa are not under control. I mean, they are under control. They're just not under that positive kind of control where they could have revenue from their own factors of production. So my thing is, the people need to get the corrupt governments out of there. The people need to start asking the World Health Organization, what's the long-term plan, instead of you just dropping a crate of rice off every couple months? What's the long-term plan? But see, you know who's got these answers? The people that people that come from Africa and say are dumb. We have these answers. Where is the live stream? Now, my man, Mr. Uganda, he has some good live streams. You know what I'm saying? And he's on his shit. But like, this ain't even, I shouldn't even be having this live stream. I'm just literally interested in where the money goes. So my thing is, okay, how do you start a political organization? Now, see, this is the problem, right? When you're dealing with Africa, see, check this out, CJOJ. You are probably in the best position to start a political organization for Nigeria. You know why? Because we just sat here and talked about Al-Shabaab. If you start talking about a political organization while you're in Africa, you can get killed. And you don't want to put yourself in no kind of danger like that. But while you're in Canada, you can organize some shit. And you don't have to worry about the instability and the threats of any harm, any bombs, none of that shit. You can create a movement here, get some shit started online, start petitioning the government, start petitioning other people around there. But see, like, I didn't grow up in that environment. I'm not even from that. And I just thought of that in like 5 minutes. And if I was from that, and if I did have to deal with that, then that's what I would be doing. Me personally, I try to contribute to shit in ways that I can contribute. You know what I'm saying? And like, I have a lot of fundamental issues that make me not a leader. But one thing that I do really like is critical thought. You know what I'm saying? So I talk about critical thought because I think it's important that people have effective thought processes, because I think a lot of the problems that people have is because people have just become autonomic. It's automatic. When, like, if you know, if people come around each other, oh, I gotta be better than you. Oh, I gotta one up you somehow. I mean, not really. You really don't. I mean, I don't. You know, if you're doing great, if you're a surgeon, you know what I'm saying, you own 5 or 6 houses, hey man, good for you. You know what I mean? Like that's not anything I've ever wanted to do. So it's not like you're out competing me because I'm not in competition with you. I'm not in competition with the HVMs and the high value men and the people that want to wear suits that are so tight. You know what I'm saying? Like holes are busting out all over the place. That's not, I don't want to do that. That's not something that I have a desire for. You know what I mean? There's certain things that I'm just not the person for. You know what I mean? But then there are things that I am the person for. And the things that I am the person for, I try to contribute back in that way. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, shit, I would be down to help strategize some shit. But like I can't do that and then get shitted on though. Because like that's what happens. Motherfuckers do shit and help. And then it's like, oh, well, you know, all right, you ain't coming to the after party. Like, what? That has historically happened. So how are people supposed to not be suspicious? You know what I mean? How are people supposed to not protect themselves? You feel what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. That's the thing. So, man, it's all I wasn't even supposed to be live this long. I wasn't even supposed to be live this long. Leave it to CJOJ to come in and start shaking shit the fuck up. So check this out, y'all. I'm about to have date night with my girlfriend. Well, date day and night, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta go. So I think I don't know, but I think I might come back live tonight. I think I got something scheduled tonight. Everybody's welcome to come. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that this was a good conversation. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like when it comes like CJOJ and you know Ash Kuro and like everybody in here, like, man, I'm not about to flip out and start calling y'all all kind of names and start flipping and going crazy and doing all that crazy ass shit. Like I don't do that. Like I said, like the reason for me doing this series is not to put Africa on blast. It's to have a documented evidence, documented record of how all of these things interact. And so that when we see breakdowns in the system, people can see exactly where it came from. What happened? Why don't they have money? Okay, we got people like Al Shabib running around. You know what I'm saying? Well, okay, well, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that Kenya is experiencing these crazy bread prices? It's because they have a 20% dependency on grain from Ukraine, and Ukraine is in a war. Why do you have a dependency on bread from Ukraine? You know what I'm saying? Why? That's what this is for. And if somebody wants to use it, I don't know, maybe like somebody that says they want to do something political, you got all the sources and you got all the info. And maybe some people learn some shit that they didn't know about the economy. Why not? You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another episode of Auditing Africa. If you didn't see part 1, make sure that you guys check that out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell icon twice, smash that like button, and I will see you guys next time I go live. All right. Peace.